Hello, how are you all doing? All right. Hi, Annette. Nice to see you. Hi, Michael and Dorothy. Hi, Bill. Hey, everyone.
I'm not sure.
Nice to see your smiling faces, those of you whose faces I am seeing. And nice to imagine your smiling faces, those of you who I'm not. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Merrily. All right. So, I need to, Merrily, just to be clear, and sorry, this is just a question. Was it this the class that you weren't going to continue, or was it another one that you were signed up for?
So I signed up for this one and I went through the office and you signed up on it as well.
Okay, so it was this, there was not one that you had said you couldn't take? No, it was this one. I'm getting confused with someone else. I was like, yikes, had I dropped you? I just didn't make sure I didn't drop you.
No, I'm in.
You're in. Yeah, I remember there was something registration wise with you. Okay. I'm running into some surprising issues with, I had 24 people in my digital design techniques class and 5 people on the waiting list. I'm chit-chatting while I'm letting people in. So meanwhile, make sure to open up, bring your other devices, open up your photos program and everything, and then go into the chat and sign up. But yeah, I had 30 people basically for that class. And, but 15 of them never showed up to the first class. And I reached out to them and, you sign up in August for a class and then this doesn't start till November. And well, a job came up, my business schedule changed, whatever. I'm down to like 10 students in there. So if anyone's interested in the digital design techniques class, plus people who were in it said, oh, I'll bow out because you have people that need to take it. I'll give them my spot. And I'm like, no, there's a lot of spots. So if any of you guys want, it's happening in the morning of Fridays. And so like Alan is in it, he's in both classes and we were just there. But just welcoming you back into that class because we can happily, I mean, the class is going to go and with few people, which is awesome, but it's also awesome for you guys. If you want to take a stab at it the first time ever with few people, I can go into more detail. All right.
What is the class exactly?
Digital design techniques.
Digital design technique.
It's where I've let Win in a few times and he's not letting him join. Sorry, I'm having an issue with, I'm letting Win, there's a student who is being asked to join and I'm admitting him again and again and it's not letting him in. So give me a second. I don't know what's happening. Let me see if I can message him in the waiting room. Okay, I'm texting him in the waiting room. I don't know how to let him in otherwise. It's so weird. Let me just tell him to drop out and restart again.
Diana, it's Debbie in New York.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Debbie, back in New York.
Hi.
Right.
What do you teach in digital design?
Yeah, sorry. I just finished writing to Win to see if we can fix him, and now I'll go back. Okay, so I teach people how to take a project from the beginning to end. So those of you who've taken it before, I'm tackling a little bit differently this time. I always try to tackle the class in a different way to see if it works better each time. And I'm we're doing projects from beginning to completion. So I'm having them find out the specs of the job. So like if you need to do a business card, what size does it have to be? Where you're going to print it, what you need to put in it. You're going to put this and that. So collect all the material. And then we're using Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign to create that piece and to send it to print. Same with things that go to the web, same with things that go to print brochures or flyers. So I'm just taking books, projects from beginning to completion and how to handle that material. So we're using those 3 programs. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
if you're interested, you can catch up looking at watching the recordings. All right.
Diana,
See,
did you drop me? From,
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm. All right. So we have, I still can't get Win in. I don't know what's happening. So I'm just gonna ignore it for a bit because I just got to continue with the class. I don't know what's happening, that he's just stuck in the waiting room. That must be horrible to be stuck in the waiting room of hell that you never get out of. I'm texting him in the waiting room, but he's not answering, so I don't know what's happening. All right. I'll keep letting people in. So, hello, everyone. Have you been playing around with your phones and your photos programs, trying out things with people and places or things like that? Or some of you told me that you had dared do finally some slow-mos or some time lapses or things like that. Anything you
Yeah.
want to share?
Yes, I want to share something.
Yes.
Remember somebody said that they couldn't get the photos until the next day or the following day? Was in this class?
Yes.
That was me.
Okay. It happened to me over the weekend, and it had happened to me before. That's because how you say, your storage is full. So you need to delete some in order to get the new ones.
No,
Yeah.
that wasn't my problem.
No? Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, but thanks for sharing that because it could have been a problem. So yeah, as so many times we don't know, I don't learn about things that don't work until you guys tell me. And then I try to find out what could be happening. And I didn't find, I didn't look up anything about why photos can be not transferring. Whatever I did look up at the beginning, I just did a couple of searches and it just says you need to turn on your cloud, make sure that the settings are correct. You know, like it just tells you to do the things I've told you to do. But if all that is set up, I didn't find any answer to, well, I've got all set up and things are still not showing up or something like that. So I need to delve further into that. Was it this class?
Mine are showing up right away instantly now.
Yeah, so who knows what was
Mhm.
happening that day. So
Yeah.
now it's showing up. So maybe sometimes the system is slow and you had a problem that one time, as long as in general it works. Maybe one day there's, you know, you get onto cable and it's fine, and then one day it's slow. I'm wondering if that's what was happening. I don't know.
And I had to delete some in order to get the pictures for Halloween. 2 days
Well-
after, I didn't know what was the problem until
Well,
I did that.
that's good then that you had that problem, so you can share with us to know that, yeah, full storages tend to be they block things. Start when things are full, not only are you not able to do certain things, but also when your storage is full, your computer begins to really mess up and not work correctly. So I've actually wanted to upgrade my computer, but then last week I had to do stuff last weekend. So I've been trying to do it in between, but instead I've spent all week in between teaching and the rest of my life, I've spent it cleaning out my computer of stuff. And I went from almost full to now I have a quarter of my computer empty, 3/4 full, and everything is working again, which is really such a relief because, you know, when things start doing weird stuff. And so all it took is just emptying my computer out a little bit. So I'm getting rid of stuff, putting it into different hard drives, backing up and doing that so that when I do clean up, it'll be a better, hopefully a better connect. When I do, hopefully this weekend, I'll get around to restarting and setting it up as the new operating system. hopefully everything works better. I don't want to bring back the problems I was having now by having too full of a computer. So I'm teaching this in the Mac OS level 1 class that just started, file management. So if any one of you guys wants to understand more how to handle your files and stuff like that aside of photos, then please come into that class. We just started this week, so you can still join us just fine. But let me be clear that the thing that takes up the most space is photos. So in that class, I've told people to come here to learn about file management, photo management, because we have been just talking right now about how to handle what photos you have, how to find them, how to search for them and stuff like that. But what we haven't talked yet much is about file management, like what are all the, other than the whole cloud connection and all of that, where you put all these photos and what do you do with them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But right now, I wanted to finish one more of the features that photos pops up for us to be able to search our photos. I began to talk about the people choice, and I've been insinuating that we're going to talk about keywords. So we're going to go do that and create albums, which is how to make our own selection of stuff. So today we're going to be still working on that, and then we're going to start editing photos and files and stuff like that as of next week. Okay. And then you'll get to know more about how to handle all those files and where they go and if they're duplicate or not, or all that kind of stuff. Wynn, you made it in. Did you see my message telling you to start again? Could you see in the waiting room my message? I kept letting you in like 20 times, and it's like you were stuck there. And then I wrote to you in the waiting room, but I didn't know whether writing to you in the waiting room you could see my text. Were you able to see me saying sign out and sign in again? You're muted, so I can't hear you. You're still muted. I can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself. Everything you're saying, I'm not hearing it. You still have a little mute sound on your recording, so you need to unmute yourself. I just want to know what happens in the waiting room if I need to talk to you. Did you see me writing to you?
No.
No. Okay. Because when I'm writing in the chat here, I write to everyone, but I have a choice to write to people in the waiting room. And I sent you 2 messages saying, I can't seem to let you in. Sign out and click on the link again. You didn't see that appear at all for you?
No, but I did it automatically, I guess.
You did, yeah. But so you didn't see that, right? Because I've never known if I write to the people in the waiting room, as it says, how you would see that. And you basically didn't see that, right? That's interesting. Okay, so that's kind of useless, a useless feature. Because I was trying to tell him something, but if he didn't see it. All right, I'm glad you were able to pop out and pop in again. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and unless someone has a specific question, please ask me your question now. Meanwhile, I'm going to begin to share my, I am sharing my, I'm going to have to actually switch because I'm switching it to another window. Let me see. Your sharing is pause, resume share. Are you seeing it now? Yeah. So I prefer to share from that window instead of from this one. All right. Any questions? Any attempt? I had told you guys to go to your people and try to distinguish some people. Did anyone do any of that? It's okay if you didn't, but if you did, give me a little raised hand. Leslie is raising her real hand. Everyone else, raise your digital hands. So did it work? Did you get to mark up a few people? Yeah.
Deanna, I have a problem where I have the same person, but there's 2 different pictures of them in my people.
Yeah. So notice here, you don't know them yet, but this person is here and this person is here. And it is the same person. So sometimes the computer can tell that it's the same person, and other times it can't. And so in this case, I'll have to tell it that it's the same person. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, actually, this is not the best way. I'm gonna have to go back to this screen. I'm gonna.
Can't hear you now.
Sorry, there. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I muted myself on purpose to tell my family to please keep the dog quiet, but then I
Oh.
didn't unmute myself and I kept talking. So it's hard. The dog barks when people arrive and he's happy. And so, but you need to like immediately tackle him and then move him to another room. Then he stops. But if he just sits there, he just keeps barking and you're here, you're home. Yay, party time. And so I'm just like, move away so he can be quiet. Okay. So these choices here are still unselected, so to say, but I showed you guys the other day how to put a name under one person, and yet this person is here again. Most of the times the people are pretty distinct, but now and then you'll get these duplicates, right? So first, let me remind you again how to do it without duplicates, because only about 4 or 5 of you guys raised your hand that you did it. So either the rest of you didn't raise your hand or you didn't do it yet. So let's go ahead and do it. Go over here to the people and you'll see some stuff show up. I believe that those of you who have Big Sur and is anyone here on Monterey? Remind me. I think Doran, had you gone to Monterey? In my iLife class, I have people already in Monterey. Not in my life. In my macOS class, I have some people in Monterey, but no one here yet, right? Okay, yeah, don't upgrade yet. Give it another couple of months until all the things get ironed out. But if you are in Monterey because you just bought a new computer, then you'll be there. So tell me, Big Sur people, if this shows up very differently. I'll be in Big Sur by next week, but if it shows very differently, you need to warn me that what you're seeing is different than what I'm showing. All right, so go ahead and choose someone. So I'm going to choose someone that I only have a few pictures of, which is this person. I only have a couple of pictures of her. And when I select it, then over here it just says plus name. So I'm going to click her name and I'm going to write Heather. Now, when I write Heather, these names that are appearing here are Heathers that I have in my contact book. So if I don't have these people in my contact book, they don't show up. Okay. But if I do have this person in the contact book, then they're going to show up. And I actually do have her. This is Heather Bell. So if I didn't have them in my contact book, then I just write Heather and it just has Heather. That's it. But by putting this, by having her and choosing her, then it distinguishes her as this Heather and not one of all these other Heathers, right? So this is the first step for people who have a duplicate face, right? Is that if that person that's a duplicate face shows up in your contact book, then when you go to that duplicate face, so this one already I had chosen, and let me remind you, I had written Santiago and I had chosen him as the person who's in my phone book because that, instead of just writing the name, because it's possible that I have 2 Marys, 2 Santiagos, 2 Heathers, and if they're not in the home book, in the phone book, then you need to call one Heather 1, Heather 2, or write their name to be a different Heather. But if you do have them in the phone book, then now I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go ahead and look for Santiago again. I'm going to name him the same Santiago as that one. And when I do that, it'll go, ooh, is this also that person? See, like, are you sure? And I'll go, yes, it is that same person. So then boom, it turns into just one of them. The other one disappeared. Okay. So you can then join them, but be careful to not have 2 different Marys. Suddenly it's a confusion. You say, you're right. Yeah, it's a Mary and you got 2 different people showing up. Okay. But that's how, if you have the same name for people, father and son have the same name or something like that, you just kind of identify them by giving them a slightly different name. Or if you have them in your background, you do it. Now notice that when I did that, it says updating people. People will finish updating when photos is in the background. So basically right now, photos is in my foreground. It's active. So it still is just going to show me things as before. But when it becomes a secondary program, when I go and click on something else, then photos falls into the background if maybe I'm on my internet or something like that. And that gives a chance to photos to go in and update and redistribute whatever it had labeled as Santiago before and as who knows this person before is being joined, and we're getting more photos of Santiago identified as Santiago. Does that make sense? But it's warning me that it's going to wait until it's in the background. And that's what it means. That's what photos means when it calls itself to be in the background. It means when I am not using it as the active image. So those of you who took my Mac classes know that I can have 2 or 3 or 4 different programs running. And I could be on the internet right now running the internet, but if I didn't close photos, it still runs and it still works. And it does all of this process while it's in the background. Okay, that's what it's talking about. But as long as I have it up and running and I'm using it, I won't see the immediate changes because it needs to run through a whole series of processes to search all my database again, all my photos, and start to find faces again that look like this other person. And that is going to wait until I'm not actively in the program, but the program has to be open. Okay. So if this is, let me just once again show you guys, because a lot of these processes happen later. If this is my entire desktop, right? And I'm going to close this as if this is my entire desktop and I have nothing else running, which I don't, then nothing's going to happen. But say I now open the internet, right? And I start walking on the internet. Now this is my foreground program and that is in the background. So that's when it's working. But it's possible that this is also minimized and I don't even see it. I don't even know that photos is running, but I'll know photos is running if it's got a little dot underneath. And as long as it's got a dot underneath, it's running, but it's in the background. And it's working hard at identifying people, doing whatever else it needs to do, running all of this Adobe, no, I just came from the Adobe class, running all of these Apple artificial intelligence tools on it. And the idea is that if enough time has passed, when I go back to use it, it will have been able to process all of that stuff. Now it needs more time. This one uses a lot of artificial intelligence. It has to match all your photos with different features that it's finding. So these two are the same people once again. So I'm going to put this guy, I'm going to call this guy Joaquin because it's who he is. And it's this guy. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to call this guy Joaquin and I'm going to choose the same one. Is this the same person? Yep. So now it's joined him and I only one Joaquin. Okay. For the rest of them, I can just label them here. So this is me, Diana, and I can choose me. And one other thing it can do is it'll go, ooh, confirm additional photos. Select other photos that are also Diana. So it's saying, is this also Diana? And is this also Diana? It's interesting how good this program is that look at the position of this face. And it still is kind of figuring out that it might be me. And I can say no, and I'll uncheck that if it's not, because sometimes it gets it, sometimes it doesn't. Or I can say, yeah, that's also me. And I confirm that by leaving them checked and by saying done. So it's going in there and it's finding more photos that could be me. Okay. So I think that's about all the messages you can have, but there's more still where you can get it to find more.
So what does it mean to merge photos?
Well, in case you had labeled something, say I had 2 different Joaquins here. Now I'm telling it, this is the same Joaquin. So it's going to, all the people it thought was Joaquin before, and all these people it thought was Joaquin before. Now it's like, oh, these are the same person. Okay. So now they're all in the same album. They're all Joaquin.
I see, I see.
It's not like it does a blend of the photos or anything. It just say it found 50 here and 50 there. Now I have 100 photos of Joaquin.
It's like if you call somebody Andy in one picture and Andrew in another, it gets wants to merge them.
Yes. Okay. So it's up to you to tell them, yes, Andy and Andrew are the same person. Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes you have, or you used to call them something and maybe maybe they had a last name and they got married again, they have a different last name, which being Argentinian, that's a pet peeve that women in this country lose their names, but never mind. I'm not gonna, it's a weird thing that you guys Americans do and find it's normal. And sorry, I'm saying you guys Americans, I'm not all of you Americans. I'm also American because I'm a double citizenship, but that one has always been strange to me. As an Argentinian, you keep your name all your life, right? And here people can go through 3, 4 names, who knows how many marriages until they're done. And so it's this case, and I'm saying that because in this case, you would have to go and alter that contact And then here, go tell them that this is not Mary Stewart anymore. Now this is Mary Johnson. But it's easier. What you have to do is go alter your contact and change it to Mary Johnson. Then up here, automatically it would show up now as Mary Johnson. You don't have to do anything here. It's the contact you have to change. So sorry about getting on my soapbox about the names, but I just wanted to address the fact that people's names do change. So where you change them, down in the contacts app. And then this automatically knows that this is not Joaquin Musacchio anymore. Now this is Joaquin Johnson. And here it doesn't care what name it has. It just wants to point to that person in your contacts. Okay. So any questions for whom this did or didn't work? So here
My
I'm
computer
marking.
just said to finish updating, quit photos and make sure your Mac is connected to power.
Yes, if you are on a laptop, another thing it's going to need is for you to be connected to power, because this process used up a lot of resources and a lot of power, and it doesn't want to use up your battery power. So it'll wait until you are connected to power before it does the whole process. Okay. Now, whenever you say confirm if this person is that, it might find 1 or 5 more photos. That's one way to tell it to find more photos. So I've said, yes, this is also that person, but there's more we can do. So by the way, I'm going to go ahead and close. Some of you had raised your hands in answer to when I had said who did this or who didn't do that. I'm going to clean your answers because now I want to make sure if you raise your hand for a question that your hand is raised and I can see that you have a new question. So if you had your hand raised as a question, I've just turned everyone's hands down. So if you had a question, please raise it again. So Alan?
Yes, on my own computer, I have, when I look at the people category of my library, I have a lot of names that are, a lot of blank, no images, but I have, in each one has the name of a person.
Oh, that's interesting. Had you set up your names before in another version of photos or something?
Maybe a long time ago, I don't remember how, but it shows, it also at the bottom of the screen says 294 photos scanned, 1,159 photos remaining. And this is just the people, at least I have people selected.
Okay, so hang on a minute, because one thing is that I have a very small set of images here in this sample file that I showed you guys. My real photos album has bazillions of images. And yeah, when you have it, a ton, it takes even more. But the more photos you have, the easier for this to work. I'm seeing an alarm somewhere. Give me 1 second. My phone's alarm is ringing and I don't have it with me. It's right next to me, but it's bugging me. Let me go grab it. 1 second. Okay, I had an alarm set up and it was ringing and ringing and it was just getting really bothersome. So I had to just go and grab it to stop it. All right, so in the meantime, I let Carol in. So hi, Carol. Okay, so what we were doing is, oh, there's someone else, Zoom user. Someone else is in
It's
the
Gwen.
waiting room.
When, can you hear me?
When, yeah, hold on. I'm still answering one question. So hold on when I can hear you, but 1 second. I wanted to finish that answer. There's more we can do. And what I'm going to show you next is going to be better done on libraries that have a lot of photos, which is, so these are the ones that got found automatically. Now, how do I make my library go and search for more? So I'm going to give you a sample of that. But if mine doesn't have too many to search, I might ask one of you guys who does have many more photos to show your screen to sample that yourselves so that I can show you better how that process works. And I am wondering, Alan, if in your case, somehow the data between the new person, like the people you had labeled before and now kind of got disconnected. And so I need to maybe have you share your screen and show me what's up. So I'm going to stop my share and I'm gonna let Win ask his question while you share your screen. But first of all, someone just joined us and your name is Zoom user and I need to know who you are. So if you just joined us, I just let you in.
Someone else is sharing their screen, I guess.
I'm sharing my screen, so hold on. Is Zoom user, are you there? Can you hear me? And you don't know that you're a Zoom user, but you just joined us 20 seconds ago, and I need to know who you are. So can you unmute yourself to say who you are or change the name on your screen? I'm gonna let you do that while I stop my share so that, oh, it's Marcia. Okay, it's Marcia on your, got it.
Hi, it's me. Sorry.
I
have to
got
go
you.
pick up my daughter. Thank you.
That's fine. I hear you. I'm just gonna write your name so that I know that it's you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Got it. All right. All right. So I am changing her name. Alan, can you share your screen?
Yes, I could do that now.
And then I'll answer your question when, let's see.
Put this.
Okay. So,
That is weird.
all right. So here we have what he was talking about. So now I'm going to show you the process that I'm going to show now in order to add more people. And I was going to show it to you with someone whose images are showing, but go ahead and choose someone that you know you have many photos of. Choose someone that you know you have many photos of. Okay, so now everyone choose a person that you know you have many photos of and double click that person's image. So he doesn't have an image, but you guys have an image. Double click on it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and double click. I'm gonna do it myself. Now, when you do that, in his case, it's a bit hard to see this. So I'm wondering if that photo is there because normally here you would be seeing their face so you could confirm if it's this person. But let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit more. And do you see when you guys scroll all the way down? Now, he only has one thing to scroll down, but if you have many photos, you're going to have to scroll down a lot because a lot of images of that person are showing up. And way at the bottom, when you can't scroll down anymore, you will see what he has here that it says confirm additional photos, right? Now, I'm a little bit concerned of confirm additional photos. We don't see who that person is, but go ahead and can you first, before you do this, can you go find a photo of this person who is Roberta? Can you actually visually find one? And let me see if we can fix this connection. So go to your photos. No, in your photos app, go to your photos, like two choices up, go up, keep going up and see if you find a photo of someone on the top right.
I have my own photo there.
Yeah. Okay. You might want to find yourself. Go ahead and double click a photo of yourself. It's
Okay.
probably better if it's one that shows you bigger in the face, but that's fine. See guys how under his photo, there's a little box that says unnamed. You see that little box that says unnamed? I'm going to show you how to do this later, but I'm going to just try to fix this for him to see if it works. So go ahead and go to that little photo that says unnamed under your chin, click in there and name yourself. Okay, and did you choose, wait, you just wrote Alan, but did you choose yourself from your list? Go click into the name Alan again. Just click into the name Alan. Delete it and write Alan again. And don't go so quickly. Before you say go, write Alan and then wait there.
Thank you.
Okay, and now stop. Do you know if one of these is you? Like you kept going.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted you to stop. Don't say go or return, just write Alan. And now that top one is the one that you just made. So that one, no, you just made that one, so it doesn't really count. Is that one down there, Alan G, is that the one that you do usually see this little cactus when you need to sign in into your computer? Is this,
I don't know.
how about the one underneath? Is that your email? Do you know?
yes.
For Alan Home?
Yes, that's
Is that?
also,
So it's just that you might have many of you in your contact book. You might have yourself a few times. So go ahead, and if you know this is you and that's your email, click on that one because we know that's you, that it's actually you. Okay, so now that's what's considered Alan. Now you've made a new Alan with this little face, so now you need to join them. Anyway, now that you found that, go back to people. You found one photo of someone and you called it Alan. So when you go over here, go and see at the very top. I see your name at the top. No, where's Alan?
Yes.
I don't know why. Now this is bizarre. This is really, you just made this one and it's not showing your name. Double click.
It's showing other family photos.
Yeah. So because we can't see them, something's wrong. Can you restart your, something's wrong. These photos not showing is something is wrong. And I don't know if it's something inherited from the past or what. So I would quit photos and restart it and let's go see if this still keeps happening. Then this might be one of those things you need to talk to like a tech about. I don't know. Go ahead and open it again really quickly. Let's just see it. Wait, hold on. Photos we can use remaining when you're not using the app and your Mac is connected to power. Did you perchance just switch maybe from photos in your settings from one setting to another? Like if it's saying this, did you just change like maybe from the iCloud up or down?
I don't know. I'm not aware of doing that. But these photos have been there for years, I think, and I
Yeah.
have hardly used photos in the recent years, if at all.
Okay, so I'm not, okay, so maybe if you haven't used it for recent years and your computer has been up, okay. So what you said gives me a clue. You've probably been updating your operating system for many years and yet you
Yes.
have not used your Photos app. So when you finally did open your Photos, it had to transition your old Photos app from iPhotos all the way up to Big Sur or something like that. And maybe some stuff got lost in the translation because every time you upgrade one operating system, and you open up Photos, it needs to adapt to the new operating system and it makes you, it modifies the library and then library. But if you jumped from say Sierra all the way up to Big Sur or something like that, it probably made us, I'm thinking there might be a little mess there. Now, I wouldn't know how to fix that problem. I think this is the kind of thing you need to check in with Apple support. Just call them and say, hey, I upgraded. I opened my Photos that I haven't opened in a long time and it's not showing me these things. Can you tell me if there's a way to fix it? Or maybe it just needs to sit here and continue scanning. But if you said you've done this a while ago. So I'm going to stop your share right now. I really don't know how to fix this right now. So I'm going to ask you to check. I think that's probably what happened. You guys, whenever you upgrade your computer, the Photos program upgrades with your computer's operating system. And each time you open your Photos with a new operating system, it's the one thing that every time you upgrade your operating system, the Photos library tends, in the past when it was iPhotos, it tended to get problems. Sometimes it got corrupted. Sometimes you ended up with duplicates. It's been much smoother every time I upgrade. Now I don't have problems. But in the past, every time you upgraded, that was a moment where your Photos might suddenly, you lose all your albums and stuff. So I highly recommend doing a backup before you do an upgrade. And then once you do your upgrade, open up your Photos again. And then the library has to be transformed. It tells you converting library to new library. And it does all these things where it translates what it used to be into the new settings. But if you jump from a very old one to a very new one, I'm feeling that that's probably Alan's problem right now. And he might need to call the techs. Okay.
Could be. Thank you.
Wynn, you had a question?
Yeah,
It's been answered. Thank you.
Oh, you have the same problem?
Deanna, would you just back it up with Time Machine or with a hard drive?
Hold on, let me confirm with Wynn. So was it a question about upgrading, Wynn, or just in my general conversations, I answered you already? You're done. I just want to make sure that you got your. All right. So Dorothy's saying how you would back it up. Well, definitely one way is Time Machine. That I'm again in my Mac level 1 right now. I'm showing people how to do that. normally it's a Mac level 2 thing, but since people are trying to right now upgrade, many of you are being told, hey, it's time to upgrade to Monterey. I'm telling you, wait, don't do that. But if you were in Big Sur, you're being told to upgrade to Monterey. Please don't do that until you back up your computers, including these photos. And one of the ways to back up is on Time Machine. So if you have a Time Machine running, you're fine. If you don't have a Time Machine running, come join us in my Mac class so I can show you how to do that. I'm doing that next week with the class before you do any kind of upgrades. Okay.
And I have one more question.
Yes.
Last year, you were not upgrading to Big Sur, and it seemed like because of Photoshop or Illustrator not.
No, I didn't upgrade to Big Sur because my computer didn't have at that point the power.
Oh, okay.
And I had a color monitor that I wanted to use and stuff like that. I'm actually going to upgrade to Big Sur this weekend, even though Monterey is a new one. But I had to do some work on my computer first, and I was just too busy to do it until now. So now I'm doing that work, and then I'll upgrade to Big Sur. But I waited a bit too long because now it's time to upgrade to Monterey. So, but that's fine. My computer's old, and so I don't want to upgrade to Monterey. So I'm going to stop at Big Sur. But because of that, I'm actually doing a whole reinstall, clean install of everything so I can handle my computer in Big Sur for a few years to come before I can afford one of the new computers. So that's what I'm doing. Okay.
So Lightroom and all Creative Cloud is supported by Big Sur now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome. All right. Unless there's other questions, I'm going to move back to sharing
I'm a
my.
little confused about the backing up, the one the lady asked you. Is that in the cloud or is Time Machine?
No, Time Machine, you're new to the Mac. So, but aren't you in my Mac class? No, you're not.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll talk about backups in the Mac class. And yes, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, take my Mac class because it'll take a whole class of iLIfe of this to do it. And I don't have the bandwidth. I need to teach you a lot in here. So I can't teach you also how to do a backup in this class. So
Diana,
yes.
aspetta un momento. I did go to Monterey last week. I am looking at a photo. The AI put her in with one of my, so like, because she kind of looks like another girl. She got, it put her in there. And
Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to handle people. I haven't showed you yet. So I'm going to show you how to handle it. Once I go through all of that, maybe by then your question will be answered. And if by then you still can't divide her, then I'll show you again. I'll let you share your screen and we can handle this one person.
But
okay.
For him, when you hovered over, it said unnamed. But when I'm hovering over, it's not saying unnamed.
Yeah, because now it's been set up that's what that's what it is, right? So let me just share over here and tell you, once at some point you said yes to it inadvertently or advertently and didn't notice, and now that computer thinks that person is that name. So you need to make that change. The computer doesn't know who these people are. They're just pixels, right? They're just pixels. You tell them or don't tell them. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Go ahead and double click one of the ones that does have a name now. Double click. And then the first thing you should see is it shows you like a cute little slideshow that if you were to click, it just makes a little movie and here it goes. Yeah, I can hear it, but it's putting sound. Can you guys hear the music? No, it's in my headsets, but it shows you a little slideshow. So you guys do it for yourselves. The top choice, they make a slideshow with music of all the photos that they think are this person. And here's a little play. And if you could play on yours, you'll see them kind of doing this. And in this case, if I advance, it's all of these photos, right? I didn't make this slideshow. The computer made it for me with photos that I labeled Jack and that it found and it thinks are Jack. Okay. That's the first thing it did for us. Now, if you only have one or two photos of the person, it's a slideshow of two photos, but that's fine. Like, for example, when I clicked on Heather, I probably only have a couple of photos of this person. So it's trying to create a movie and It's taken, that's it. That's the only photo she's, oh, there's one more. Okay. She's in a few more, but that's about it. It's one Christmas, right? So I don't have that many more photos of her. And so it's the same minute, the same photo sits in there for a bit longer. Okay. But when you have a lot of photos, those photos change. So that is something that got made for us. How am I doing that? I'm double clicking. I'm playing this. And to get out of this mode, I'm just going back to this back arrow right there to back up into this one, which is still all about Jack right there. So I'm still in Jack, the person Jack. Then I scroll down and it tries to make like a little collage, the best of, right? And it's a collage of photos of this person. There you go. But it's not all of them. In fact, if you want to see more, you can say show more. But this is whatever the photos that the computer considered ones that it wanted to put in that little collage. Are you all seeing your little collages? These are called kind of like memories, and these are like a whole collection of photos. Now, if I said show more, I click here on show more, then it's showing me all the photos in a row, but not in a cute collage. It's just every single photo. So here, this person is in this photo. Look at how many photos we took of that moment, right? So it's all of them versus in the collage, it only showed one time. Okay.
Diana,
So this is every single photo I have of that person.
Diana,
And hold on, and let me switch it. When I don't want to see that, I want to go back to the other one. I hit show summary again. And now it shows this kind of cute mode. Yes, Yolanda?
so 2 questions. How did
Yes.
you get into that collage mode? And the other question is, when you said about that they make a video for you,
This
I
one.
was wondering why I have 502 videos that I don't remember creating.
No, this is not a video it makes for you that, this is not a video that it makes for you that takes any space or anything like that. This
Okay.
is not a video it makes, this is just, it searched photos and it's put together a slideshow, but it's not saved as a slideshow anywhere. It just shows you a photo. See, this is a photo, then it switches to another photo, and it switches to another photo. So none of this is an actual video. It makes it, the photo move a little bit, but it's not a video. These aren't actual videos. These are
Oh.
photos that are kind of, it's a slideshow, really. I spoke wrongly. It's a slideshow and not a video. I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that one.
So
It's
my
a
other question
slideshow.
was, how
Oh,
did
how
you
did I get in here? Yeah, I went to people.
people?
I chose a person and I double clicked. And this is made by Apple for me. Okay.
The collage you mean? Collage?
Is
Wow.
anyone not seeing this? And is this very different than Big Sur, or what you're seeing is similar enough, you Big Sur people?
I didn't
Some-
see the collage in mine.
You don't see the collage in yours?
Uh,
Or you do? You do?
no,
Okay.
no.
Oh, you
no,
don't?
no.
All right, so let me share
Well-
your screen, share your screen. Remember that you might have issues with space in yours, so maybe it can do less. Let's see,
Let
share
me-
your screen. Whenever I say, do you guys see it or not? I need either thumbs up or downs, yeses or nos, because otherwise I can't take a measure of what the class is seeing. Okay, you guys need to do that for me. Okay, so click on the photos app where you see yourself there, click on that. And now go up to the top and see that little back arrow, click on that back arrow.
Oh,
Next to the 3 colors, do you see the back arrow, or do you have the zoom tools in the way?
I don't see what I see. What happened is that my problematic laptop is having that the color wheel circling and circling. That means that's going to take forever. So
Mhm.
you might have to move on and continue teaching.
All right, I'm concerned that, my concern is that you're not seeing the sidebar. You're still seeing, and you need to stretch the window out a little bit more so that you see the sidebar on the left so that you can see the people's. Okay,
Oh.
so here you are. You
Okay.
are in, so go to this back, go to the top arrow. There you go. Okay, so you're in people. Click on the word people again.
Click, just one click.
Just click on people.
Mhm.
Now, these are all your people. You're having the same issue that, interesting, you're having the same issue that Alan was having. It's grayed out. So, and I know that your computer is very much out of space. Alan, how about yours? Do you have space on yours? I
Diana?
can't hear you. Alan, I can't hear you.
I have a fairly new computer, and you know,
So, yeah, okay.
so
So
just a year or so old.
I'm wondering, I'll have to look
Catalina.
into this if it's two of you guys. Okay. No, it's,
Diana, I just wanted to show you that now it's
oh, they,
99.83.
that's true. Your sons did work
Uh-huh.
on this and did make more space for you. So that's good. That's great. Thank you. All right. So then double click on you, double click on your name. This is her. This is she. This is you. And, oh, okay. So she has a new message that I haven't gotten yet, which is at the top. It says there are additional photos for review. Don't click on that right now for a second, though. Don't click on that right now, because it's going to start a whole process that's going to take up more power. And I need you to first see this first photo up here. This is the one where the computer has put together a slideshow. Now, if you were to click on that little arrow, do you see the arrow I'm talking about to the right of your name? No,
Right here.
yeah, so don't right now, because again, since you're sharing your Zoom, I don't know if it'll use up too much of your, so don't right now. But if, well, looks like you did. Okay, so it's beginning to do a slideshow of the photos it found of you. Okay, now, if you start scrolling a bit down, it says photos, and this is that collage that it put together. It starts right underneath. Okay,
Okay, all right.
so
So that
start scroll
like-
down a little bit. Scroll down.
scroll down from here.
Yeah. And this down here is that thing that I called a collage, where it just found a bunch of photos and it found them. It doesn't know if they're your favorite ones or not, but this is it. This is the collage. And as you scroll down more, keep scrolling down, it finds groups of people. It finds that many times your photos appear with these people. So it's putting them in like choices of groups, because it figures, well, if you're always showing up with this person and that person. So that's a big SIR thing. Then it goes to places and it shows where those kind of most of the photos were taken. Then keep scrolling down. This is all Adobe picking up from your photos. And then it shows the places that some of these photos were taken in, or the times. So it kind of puts together possibilities where you want to go, oh, that was the trip I did in March. Oh, so great. You click on that and it'll show you all the photos of March 11th from that trip or whatever. The one I did want to show you is that everyone, at the very bottom of everything, you have this thing that says confirm additional photos. Now, you already had that thing up at the top in your case that said there are more photos of this person to scan. So if you did click on that up in the top, it would be equivalent. I want everyone else now to click on their confirm additional photos. But by the way, click on that confirm additional photos now. Okay, so look, you guys, the computer is now saying, see at the very top, it says confirm person. Is this Yoli Aumentado? Yes or no? It's trying to learn. It's not sure. And so you get to answer and go yes or no. And I believe it is. So you say yes. So go up and click on the word yes. So now look, it found, based on having, hold on, don't click again. Based on having said yes before, it just added 1,100 more photos to that place, because it's found that face. And I went, oh, is 1,100 more people who look like that. Now it's saying, is this Yoli? And I know you, Yoli, this is not you. But the features must be similar enough that it wants you to answer. So now you can say no. So don't click on yes, because then you'll have Leon's problem. If you say yes, then this person, all the photos of this person will be labeled Yoli, and you'll be like, oh no, that's a mess. So now go to the left and click on no. And now it's asking you, how about this one? And you can say no again. So it's trying to learn. You might, now this one I believe is you, right?
Yes.
So now say yes. So you're training, and then look, 1,200 photos were added when you said yes. Now is this one? And you can say yes again. And the more you train it, the more it begins to guess better.
Oh.
So now you say yes, and it keeps guessing, but it's going to get less mistakes as you train it more. Now that one is probably a no, right? So you say no. et cetera, et cetera. So keep going and keep training it as to who is or isn't. So keep going until the end. And you have so many photos, it might take you a while. So I'm going to stop your share, but keep doing that. Don't ever say no if it is you, and don't ever say yes if it isn't, because if you say yes to someone else, all those people become Yoli. And if you say no, then all photos that have those features that were you now get discarded, and it will just not assume that that person is ever you again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we have to train the machine. We have to train, and then it becomes.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you find someone that's not that person, then you need to fix it. But for now, we're training it. So did that work for anyone else? Is anyone else training their machine right now?
Yep.
Yeah. You're doing yeses and nos and yeses and nos. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to.
Diana,
Yes.
this is Bill.
Yes, Bill.
I have something that keeps saying people will finish updating when photos is in the background.
Yeah, yeah. So if you have a lot of photos and your computer's resources are being used a lot, it's just basically telling you this is going to take a whole bunch of work. Thank you. And I'll continue later when you're in the background. So that's what I was showing about when when your picture is, when your phone, like when you're using Safari, for example, but Photos is open, then it'll keep doing the work because it runs through it much faster. Now, the confirm additional people, it needs to do with you watching, because you need to say yes or no. But then it goes, okay, I got enough from you. Now let me go and work in the background, and then I'll come back with more questions, right? So
Thank
right
you.
now I'm going to confirm additional photos myself. And at some point I have a very small set of photos here. And it basically at some point it'll say, well, there don't appear to be any more. I got them all. Okay. So your goal is to get to the place where it says, I'm done. This is all I can find. And then you say done. And that's it. And you can assume that now in my, if I say show more, every one of these photos is it. This is all the photos that have been found of this person. Okay. So then I go back to people and I'm done with Jack. And then I can go on with the next person. So this person is Dustin. Again, I don't have that many photos. They're relative. This is his brother, right? And they do have some, this is his sister. This is my husband, brother, and sister. So they're all relatively similar, but the computer can totally, they're not like identical. I have had someone in class who had an identical twin, and they actually said that Apple was able, and almost all the times it was able to distinguish them. Okay, Marcia, I'm going to mute you because there's a lot of sound here. I was surprised. I've always said, I don't know how it handles identical twins, and not identical twins, but very similar, it handles fine. Identical twins, this person said that it was very good. So there's something in our features that we don't see that can be measured by a computer that it can figure out. So it's gonna have no problem distinguishing Dustin from everyone else. And so I seem to have just a few photos. Again, Christmas, I'll confirm additional photos. There's no more. Again, I told you I have only like probably 10 photos here of that Christmas because this is a sample library. And so that's all I have. In my real library, I have more. Okay. And so on and so forth. And you just kind of keep training this to understand. And then it tells you that it's going to finish updating when photos is in the background. Okay. So that's Bill's message right there. It'll finish updating. So everything I've trained it, it still needs some more time. Usually when I leave photos, I turn it off because I go on and I go to something else, and then I come back next Monday for the class. So I never leave it open working. So what I recommend is that you leave it open and working in the background for some time to see if it can run through all, and maybe when you're not using the computer so that it can sit there and just run through a lot of processes that it needs to run, especially if you have 30,000 photos, it needs time to run through all of that. And when you when you close the program down, it can't do that. And when you open it, you're using it. So it's saying, okay, I'll just sit here and do this when I'm in the background, meaning my program is running, but not being used. Okay. So that's the time it needs to kind of operate to run all of these automatic artificial intelligence filters to find them. Okay. Notice that a kid who's growing up like this kid has photos from when he was a little tiny boy and photos from when he's a much bigger kid, although I don't think I have much newer photos of him. He's now 14. But it's still figured out that this is him and that this is him. And you'd think this is a different face as from that, right? Or from there to here. He's changed enough, but I guess not enough. That photo and that photo, it was able to label them both Joaquin, and it's correct. That is Joaquin and this is Joaquin. Okay. So again, it's pretty amazing how well it can figure out that the same person was a baby and then is a bigger kid. Okay, so it does a pretty good job of it. Okay. Why does all this help? Well, because now I've labeled Santiago, Jack, Dustin, Joaquin. These are the ones I've labeled. If I go now and I'm in any place in my photos, right? And I go in here to the search, before we didn't have people labeled, but now we do. So now if I write Joaquin, it comes up as, are you talking about Joaquin Bailey Musacchio, the person in your contacts? Are you talking about San Joaquin Hills, which maybe there's some of these photos were taken in the San Joaquin Hills. Maybe it could say San Joaquin Valley if that's where I was, or the file that you labeled Snowboard Joaquin Jump because I labeled that, or the one that I called Joaquin Edited Quick Pick because these I labeled that. So I can, it's showing me here all the possible photos that I could have labeled Joaquin. But if what I choose is the person, which is this top choice, then these are all the photos it's finding of that person, 115 photos. And so now the search is another way that you can search those people that you labeled in people. Okay, so now I'm going to assume that if every photo that's called Joaquin is him, but over here, I don't see him. This here says Joaquin, but this is a moment right here. It's like groups of photos, but I don't see him in this picture. So if I double click to see why, it's showing me photos that are not Joaquin. These are not Joaquin, but he is part of this moment. He is part of these pictures. So he is in some of these. Down there, that's him. Down there, that's him. Here's him right there, right? So the moment is just showing me that moment and everyone who was in that moment, not just him. Okay, so let me go back. That's here where it's called moments. It doesn't just show you the person, but the moment. But when you go to people, I only see photos where this person is in. Does that make sense? The distinction, the moment is just, it takes me to that moment where all these people were there, and it includes photos with or without him, but of that, but it's called moments when it goes in and it searches usually by time or in space. It locates a group of pictures that you probably took in the same area, in the same time frame, maybe in the same group of days, or maybe in the same group of hours. And that's how you can isolate a wedding, for example, because then you stop taking pictures until the next day and then you pick up your camera again. So it knew that that wedding probably finished at that time the day before, and that's what it considers a moment or a place or something like that. Okay. Last way to do people is you labeling them yourself. So this here happens to be Joaquin as well, right there. Obviously, the computer has no way of knowing that this is Joaquin, right? Come on, most of his picture is, most of his face is covered. So if I go to the info window, so let's all open our info windows because that is important to have, and mine is popping up in another screen. So let me put it in here. Are you seeing my info window now?
Yes.
Okay, so over here, I can label this person. Now I am not, and let me explain why I'm not going to label this person Joaquin. Why? If I call this person Joaquin and train the computer to think that this is Joaquin, it could be skewing the way artificial intelligence works, because in the future, it's going to look for things that look like this, and it might begin to get confused. I don't have that many pictures of him with a face mask on. And so it would be kind of confusing if I do like the computer now or app, photos now thinks that Joaquin is a person who has eyes at a certain distance, nose like such, mouth like such, face like that shape, and that's what it labels Joaquin. But now I've told it this is also Joaquin, and so it's going to add all these parameters that I'm assuming and hoping that for the rest of our lives we won't be using masks. So unless that happens, I'd rather not have it begin to search for something that's a very different parameter. So I'm going to choose, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 2 years, I wish I'd labeled all the ones with face masks. We'll see. But really, there aren't that many photos. Come on, we were stuck in the house for so long. There's not that many photos of my family with face masks. But graduation still happened. This graduation happened. He had a face mask. So I'm going to kind of avoid labeling it because I don't want to skew the results. But notice that the computer did pick up Jack because he does not have a face mask. So over here, there's a little circle and it's figured out that that is Jack. And if I click on this circle, see how it says Jack, but it hasn't figured out the rest of us because we are all face masked. Okay, so I'm going to let that lie. But then if I can find another, I don't know that I have any, this one here. I'll click on this one. This is also Joaquin. It's not, this one here is also Joaquin. Okay, so this one's better. So this is a picture and I'm gonna make it bigger so you can see. This is a picture of Joaquin and Jack and Santi. These are my kids, right? So this is Joaquin now or last year, I believe. So this, if I look down here, this has been labeled Santiago. Yes, the computer figured that one out. This has been labeled Jack, but this person is missing. It still says unnamed. See that? So I could just go, ooh, I know who this person is. I'm going to click here and I'm going to call him Joaquin. Or I could go and click on this plus sign and call him Joaquin. Whatever. It's easier here because it's already marking the face. I'm going to click and call this one Joaquin. And then it's going to ask me, whoops, it's going to ask me, and it did the same thing. It's going to ask me which Joaquin, that Joaquin or this one. And I'm going to go this Joaquin here because it's the one that has his whole name and it's connected to the rest. And so now he's been added. And now if I go back to pictures, probably in people, now this Joaquin probably has added more photos that it now goes, oh, so Joaquin looks like this now. Okay, so if I go here and double click on this, I'll probably be able to see, there it is. Now it's added into all my photos, this one that looks like that. And this one that wasn't there before because it's from his bigger face. That one now it knows that it's also Joaquin. And why? Because I labeled that face Joaquin. So it was able to figure out that this was also Joaquin. Before, this one wasn't labeled Joaquin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He grew enough, he changed enough that from this little Joaquin to this one, it needed me to tell him that this was also Joaquin. But I did that in the photos. Hold on. I went into the photos and in the photos, I had to label him because the computer hadn't figured it out. So one last thing before I continue. So this person isn't labeled anywhere. This person does not show up as I don't have this person labeled, right? This person right there. And how can I tell? Because I have a circle here telling me there's a face and it says unnamed. If I have enough photos of her that I want her to be named, I'll go click on her and I'm going to call her Erica. Erica. And looks like I do not have her in my contact books, which is true. I don't have her in my contact books. She was acting, modeling for, by the way, those of you who know Emma Cruz, you know Emma Cruz, the one I always send you to if you have problems, this is her daughter. Her daughter, she's the actress and a singer and a musician. She's awesome. Anyway, she acted in one of my son's movies, but I don't have her in my contacts books. So I'm just going to call her Erica. And if I want to, I'll even call her Erica Cruz because I know that's who she is. And that's it. But she did not appear in my contact book. So I can't connect her to my contact list, but I can just write her name. So now if I go to people, Erica Cruz appeared, which wasn't there before. See? But if I double click, it will look for more photos of Erica when photos is in the background. Okay. So last thing to respond to Leon. Now, Leon, go to that photo, which is not that person. So say this was not Erica Cruz. click on this and it will show you, right? It will show you the picture of Erica. And when it shows you the picture of whatever, say that it says Erica and it's not Erica, that's where you change the name. So I'm going to click on this, and none of these are all, it doesn't do dogs and animals. I think the newer versions are beginning to try to pick up animals, but it doesn't do it well. So so go to a place, trying to find one that has a name that I want to change. So I'm going to click on this one. And when I see that it recognizes a face and I click on it, it just doesn't know who it is. I'm trying to find one where it does know who it is. Hold on. I need to find one that, okay, this one, it will know who it is. Okay. So here it does know who these people are. And I'm going to click up over here. It didn't figure out that this is Joaquin. So I'm going to do a plus sign. And some of them it knows, some of them it doesn't know. And so I'm going to go ahead and Joaquin, I'm going to name him differently. But if this were named, for example, if this was named Mark and it's not Mark, right? So say that this were Mark and it's not Mark. And this is your case, Leon, your question. Go to this place, right? Go ahead and I'm going to go to this photo, open it up. When I check this name, it says that this person is Mark. It's not Mark. Select that name and call this person what this person is, Joaquin, and then choose. So for the ones that you have that are wrong, once you do that to 2 or 3 of them, your computer will go, oh, so this face isn't that person? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so let me fix that. And it'll begin to fix all those faces that are not that person. You need to kind of rename a few to begin to train your computer to get that this is not that person. Does that make
Okay, thank
sense?
you. Well, do you have to be in info to do this?
This is the other place you can do that. Yeah, because from people, it's people that you've already marked. Now, since
Okay,
you
'cause I'm
already
in
have
info. And
this, oh, hold on. Let me just answer the whole reason, because I'm trying to teach everyone.
yeah.
Over here, his case is that there's 2 different people that it thinks are the same person. So 2 different people that it thinks are Santiago. So if you go here to people, it still thinks it's that person. If you want to change it, you can open up, find the ones that are not that person. So say, I think this is not that person. And still it's an info where I can change that person's name. I can go in here and go, no, this is not that person. This is whatever. And I'll add, and I'll click in here and I'll say who that person is. Okay. So it's still up to info. In people, it's just the general thing. So the only place where you can individually change it is in info.
I'm in info and I'm still not getting, hovering over her face. I'm still not getting.
Okay. So
That
let me stop my share and have you share. So this was a question he asked at the beginning that I said I'd answer a little bit later. So I know a few others of you had questions, but I've been trying to catch up to the questions. So yeah, so share your screen, Leon, and we can see your case. And then anyone else who needs to ask me a question, instead of calling my name, raise your little hand, because then you pop up in order of who raised their hand. And then I can answer in order of who's been needing questions. And I knew Leon had asked us a while ago, so I'm answering him, but I've been hearing here and there questions. So raise your digital hand, because if you raise your digital hand there in the reactions, then you kind of go up to the top of the list and you pop up at the front. So like Yolanda now is just popped up at the very top for me. And that's how I can know that she's the next person to answer. Leon, are you sharing your screen?
I am, but
You're not. So you need to click on share screen and then click again on the bottom right to where it says share. It's two clicks.
It's off the edge of the screen. Sorry.
There you go. All right. Cool.
I'm trying to fit 2 things on one screen.
Yeah, that's fine. So go
So
ahead and.
I'm hovering, but I'm not, so.
Okay, so let's see. I'm seeing, can you move it? Say, so you're hovering on her, click on the little circle that has her face inside of info. Click on that circle. Okay, go ahead and click there we go. Now see how you lit it up? And if this is not Jeannie, now go in there and fix who this person is. Click in there and don't just write the name, wait and see the list come up. So write her name. Wait, no. Did you finish writing her name or what?
No,
Yeah, so you must have hit return or something. So click-
No, I didn't. I got 2 letters, MA, and then it just went away.
all right, well, click in there again.
Oh, man.
Maybe you moved your mouse or something. MA.
I haven't touched the mouse.
All right.
Okay.
Marlene. Okay, now
Now
do
return.
you wait? Do you have her in your contact list? Nothing's appearing. So it seems to me you do not have her in your contact list, right?
I do.
Maybe it's written different.
Wait, she should, oh God, she was in Italia. I don't know where she went.
But the fact that a list didn't pop up means that you don't have her there unless you called her Marlene without an E at the end, or maybe you don't have her. You can do a search. Go up in the search and say, write Marlene. Right there where it says search, right above your mouse. Don't look for it that way.
She's not
Go
there.
up to where it says search. And no, right under, you just move way too far, right above. Yeah, click and write the word Marlene. Marlene.
Marlene.
And you don't have her. So you don't have her. Okay.
This happens. This has happened more than once, and Apple does not know why the people disappear from my contact list. They vaporize.
I've not had that happen ever. That doesn't mean that it's not happening, but some mistakes, some things happen that I don't have an experience of myself. So that doesn't mean it's not happening, but don't keep looking. If you did a search and it's not there, don't bother. Close the contacts for now because it just doesn't, you're not going to find her if the search didn't find her. So,
so now how do I solidify this?
Now you just called her Marlene. That's it. Now that's it. You're just not linking her to a contact person because you don't have her. So you called her Marlene. If you go to your people now, you'll have a person called Marlene. So go to your people now. Go back, close your contacts. We don't need your contacts.
Bingo. Okay. Maybe it'll find her.
What? I'm not seeing, nothing's changing right now.
Yeah, so how do I get it to find there's other pictures of Marlene.
You need to go, you're in contacts right now. So you need to get out of contacts. So go back to photos. You're in contacts, so nothing's gonna happen until you get out of contacts. So go in quick contacts or just go click on the photos app on the photo of Marlene, and then we can get back into photos.
You don't want me in people.
But I don't see you in people. I see you in contacts. Did you freeze? Did it freeze? Did anyone else? Is it just me? I'm seeing you still in your contacts in the search.
My contacts is not even open. My contacts does not have a black dot under it.
I see him in contact.
I see him in contact.
All right, so your screen share has frozen in contact. So I'm gonna stop your share, let it refresh, and now share again. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're still in contact searching for Marlene. So the share froze. Okay. You get info from that little I button at the top of your little window. I'll show you in a minute, Yolanda. But let's wait for Leon to start sharing again.
I am sharing.
And it says that you have started screen sharing, but I don't see your share. Did you press the second share button?
It says you are screen sharing at the top.
I'm not seeing, is anyone else seeing it?
No.
I'm still seeing Leon has started screen sharing in a black screen. Yeah.
That's all I see too.
I don't know what's happening right now with your share. I'm gonna stop your sharing. Maybe turn off your video for a little bit and then share to see if maybe like turn your video off to lighten up the burden in your computer and then try to share again.
All right, I'm gonna close out.
Close out of contacts. No, it's not photos, it's Zoom.
My contacts is closed. There's no black dot under my contacts.
I hear you. It's Zoom that's not working for you, not photos. Okay.
If I got a Zoom, I'm gonna lose you.
Exactly. But turn your video off. So go and stop video because that might help it work. Open up photos again because you do need to share photos, and then share your screen again. Just trying to see what might work.
Thank you.
And let's see. It's still stuck in that black screen of sharing screen. It's not continuing.
Okay, it says you are screen sharing, and then there's like a cloud, and then there's a red dot flashing on and off inside.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, but we are only seeing a black screen that's saying that you're screen sharing, but we're not seeing your screen. I don't know.
Maybe it's because I'm on Monterey and nobody else is.
No, this is
I don't know.
Zoom. Zoom is not sharing. It's not Monterey. Okay, I stopped your sharing. Go ahead and turn on your video again. I can't see right now what's happening with you. I'll talk you through it for a minute. So go ahead and basically where I left you. Whoops. That was not mine. It's a bigger dog than mine.
That's a big
So
dog bark.
where I had left you was somewhere similar to this, where you had labeled someone, right? So you had labeled this person.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not working. I should be able to click on that, and there we go. So you had labeled this person. So now go back to people over here on the left. You had it out of the screen. So you had called this person Marlene. Go back to people. Whose dog is that? I'm going to mute you. I think, there you go. I think it's Wynn's. I'm not sure if it's Wynn's. If not, when I muted you, if it's someone else's. So go back to people, and she should appear here now as Marianne or Marlene or whoever she is.
Marlene is there.
Okay, if you double click on her, does it find more photos of her?
No.
Okay, does it say that it'll finish updating? Because what you need to do is you need to go and find more of the photos that have been labeled wrong and rename them. So you need to go find other photos of Marlene and keep renaming her into Marlene. If you do that enough times, your computer is going to go, oh, this person isn't Jeannie, this person is Marlene. And then it'll begin to ask you, so is this also Marlene? Is this also Marlene? But since right now you've told them it's Jeannie, it's kind of hard. You have to untrain it. And it takes more work than the initial choice.
I never told them. They found her, and because she looked like her. How about create photo memory? Would that help find her more of them?
It might pick up more. I don't know, because you haven't told your computer that there's anyone else called Marlene other than this one photo. So I don't know. Try it and see if it does it. Right now, I think it only knows that there's one time that is Marlene. I think you need to go and relabel enough Marlenes from Jeannie into Marlene, I think, before it'll work. All right, I see Yolanda, you're welcome. Yolanda, you had asked where the info is, and it's this little icon there. You can also find it if you go up to the top of your screen and say view, and you say not view but window. So very top where you see the Apple photos, and you say window, and you can turn on info from there, or you can have the shortcut Command I. Those are all ways to get your info. I thought the easiest one to me is just click on this little I, and the info turns on and off, on and off, on and off. Okay, and then leave it on. All right. If I click on this person, now it tells me that this is Erica Cruz. This one I haven't labeled yet. It doesn't know. The moment I label him, then it's going to work. Okay. And then I choose which Aaron. So this is important to, and it's that Aaron. And there you go. So now it knows that there's 35 photos of Aaron. Okay. Now when Aaron was young, he was very similar to Santi when he was young. He's my nephew, his cousin. And so you have to go in, and young pictures of Aaron might be labeled Santi. I don't have young pictures of Aaron here now, but you know, it might be. All right. Michael, Yolanda, your hand is up. Was that your only question, or did you have another question? I can't hear you.
Yeah, you mentioned that do not just put something, if you're on the info, for which I am not now, do not just put anything on the description. That was at the time when Joaquin had a mask. So why can we not put mask people or something?
Oh yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
I was just not wanting to label his name as Joaquin.
Okay.
I haven't researched it yet, but I don't know if it's going to throw off the coordinates or whatever it is, the qualifiers to have this face be Joaquin, if it also is showing it with a map. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too, maybe I should try and call him Joaquin and see what it does. If it finds more. It's just, there's going to be no more photos of Joaquin here anyway, because, as I said, this is a small, say that I take this photo, okay? And I tell this photo that there's two people here. It doesn't even believe me that there's people. It doesn't even see them as faces. How do I know? Because it's not even asking me, it's not giving me the choice of faces here. It gave me a choice here. It gave me a little circle where it found a face. It doesn't consider these faces. Like I said, you see eyeballs in a dog, but it doesn't consider it a face. I click on this, it doesn't consider that a face either. I click on this, it doesn't see faces. How do I know? Because there's no little circles here.
Oh, interesting.
Let me go to this photo. This photo, it might not know who these people are, but it knows that there's some faces there, right? Here, it doesn't. There's someone whose back is to the page, and so it doesn't consider that face. Although this is a photo of Santiago, it doesn't consider it yet enough of a face to be able to label it something. If I know it's Santiago and I want this to be added, then I have to add a marker in here. But when it doesn't consider there's a face, I don't really know how to add a face marker. Here, neither. This is me getting my first shot. Yeah. Doesn't even think that doesn't even think there's people here, and we're all masked up, right? So when it doesn't think there's people, it treats it as if this were a flower or a bull or a dog, but it doesn't. It's when you have people that see, again, everyone's masked. It doesn't consider masked people. And this photo, it sees two people, and you're right, two people have no masks and one does, and so it only sees two people. It's just not considering faces that are masked. It's not entering into its lexicon of people. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe Apple is gonna, if people are gonna remain masked forever, it probably needs to figure out a better way. But for now, masked people are not considered people. It's considered a flower. See, no circle appears, or a dog, no circle appears. All right. So there you go. Michael, your question?
Yeah, just real quick, when I do a search for a particular person, I get a lot of photos that have nothing to do with them. And also I have is there any way to separate those photos out? And then also, can you combine all the name, like I have a person's name, I can show you real quick on my screen share.
Yeah, let me stop my share. It's a little bit like Leon's question.
Share. So I've got, if you look up here, I have this particular name, Ricardo Means, and then I have all these photos that I've just highlighted, and they have nothing to do with Ricardo. These down here below do. So I'm trying to get those.
Okay, so all of those, there used to be a way, you could tell them, this is not that person, but you've selected a whole group, right? You have them selected?
42 items. And I have the name, that I was using for them.
So if you click in there, can you delete, is it let you delete that? Hit delete? Huh? Right, and now, but that was a keyword. You had keyworded it that is different.
Well, I keyworded it only because I was trying to separate them out. If I look at under here, right, if I go to this one, it doesn't have that keyword in it. Well,
okay.
It has the correct keyword for him, which is his name, Ricardo.
Okay, but we're talking keywords, which I haven't taught yet, keywords versus name. Okay, so notice that one that you clicked on, click back on the last one that you just showed. So you guys, look to the left on the info window. Can you point to what I'm pointing to? He has the word Ricardo there in a blue box, and he has a circle. Yeah. So can you go back to the info window? Because I have something to show there. Sure. The top blue thing, that's a keyword. And I'm going to teach you guys keywords now. That is different. That is something that Michael added. So that's something you all don't have yet, unless you've done this before and you've taken this class before, or you've done it on your own before. The one that's the automatic, the one that the people that Apple adds is that circle and beneath. That's the one that we're talking about right now. Okay. So when you click on that one, go ahead and click on it. Or double click on it to see if it takes you to, now it's coming to this one. This is who the Apple thing considers as Ricardo. So this is where you have to go. And if there's someone here that is not Ricardo, so now go to show more right there on the, show more. And then go there and start scrolling down and find photos of Ricardo that are not him. And let's relabel them, which is again,
So these are all correct.
These
But
are all
when I
correct.
did the Ricardo up here, right?
that's because
Ricardo,
he had keyworded it.
But, right, but remember, when I did Ricardo means here. this-
Oh, that
See
one,
how these
okay.
are all multiple?
Yeah,
When I
okay.
do this one, it brings in the photos on, well, it did. Oh, here, hang on a second, it's gonna be
Cynthia.
spring here. So here it has under Ricardo, spring, the Cal
No.
Lutheran ones, and they have nothing to do with him.
No, move this info window out for a little bit. Move this window info out. Like grab this info on the left because I want to see what it says on top. So move it out of the way for a bit. Yeah, grab it from the word info. So that's moments.
Right.
So look at moments. See
Mhm.
there on the top left. So this isn't it finding it right in the search. It's moments. And in this moments, for some reason,
Mhm.
if it's considering that something here might be labeled Ricardo. I do not know. So maybe you have a keyword of Ricardo in here. There's 70 photos.
Mhm.
So double click.
And I don't have, like, it has location, see, the location indicator,
Uh-huh.
but no name indicator. Here I have Ricardo as a name indicator.
Yeah. So was he part of the celebration of his graduation at one point?
No, not at all.
So scroll down
Mhm.
and but you just said here you have him. Is Ricardo here in this photo?
Yeah, see, this is Ricardo here.
All right. So here's what happened. Is this photo related at all to what's happening around it to that moment? Is it in the same location? Is it at the same day?
None, Hollywood Bowl, Woodland Hills,
So it's not related whatsoever?
none whatsoever.
Okay, click on that photo and let's open it up and let's see the info of that photo and see why it might be
Video or the
considered.
Photo.
The photo that you said is not part of this moment.
I'm gonna use the, okay, this one.
No, but that is part of that moment. That is the same
Right.
graduation. Click
That's
the
the
photo, click the photo that you said does not belong in this moment. You said this is of a different
one
place
right
and
here.
time. So
This one.
double click it.
Mhm.
Okay, let's find out why it might consider that this is part of that set. First of all, you had two other people labeled there. You had a Cynthia and a someone else. Is any of those people here?
Yes, Kate.
Okay, so basically, at some point, when you did this search, you searched for also Cynthia. I noticed you put Cynthia in the name of the search. So go back
No,
out.
So when I did Ricardo means, right?
Yeah, you put spring. Oh, because you're looking for two keywords. You're looking for photos of Ricardo Means and photos of spring at the same time.
Mhm.
You put Ricardo Means in there. I haven't taught in keywords, so we're advancing, but okay, click Ricardo Means. You put Ricardo Means and then you added spring. So what the Moments is finding is anything that has Ricardo Means and anything that has spring. And that's why
Is it
in that
or,
Moments is
or is
in this case, it's and.
okay.
Right? So by putting both in the row, and guys, this is a search thing, and I'm gonna back off right now from this, Michael, because I want
I got it.
everyone else to understand how to use keywords, but these are keywords that he's added. So when you search for two different things, it gives you not either or, it gives you both. So he's getting a picture of spring inside of his group of Ricardo Means because he's asked for both. Okay,
Is there
so
a
that's
way
why that
to
was
make
happening.
see, there's Ricardo and Ricardo Means. Is there any way to combine those two? I see this is
Yeah,
a people
that's a
one, and this is
people,
the search it
and
one.
that's a search. So that must be that
These
you wrote Ricardo. You wrote, so Ricardo Means is the person that you labeled Ricardo through the people thing. The others are searches. You probably put them in descriptions or in keywords or in some other place you write the word Ricardo. So click on that one that says Ricardo 48.
These are all going to be for keywords.
Okay.
These are all the keywords I put
So
in.
then that's the keyword. So there's probably hopefully some overlap between keywords and people, but people is the computer finding them and keywords is you finding them.
How do I get this as a people versus a keyword? Hit this.
Click on that if that's that same person. Yeah, and then there you go. That's the photos that it recognizes as Ricardo.
People.
And
Okay.
if there's more, keep going all the way down. Keep going down. Click
at the bottom.
click on confirm additional photos and let's see if you can find. It seems that right now it seems to find that it considers that they're all here.
Okay.
So if you find more photos that are Ricardo, you need to label them. But if not, I venture to say that right now, Ricardo probably has picked up all the ones inclusive of all the ones that you've keyworded. I want to stop now because I don't have people knowing what keywords is.
Yep.
And so most of what I'm saying is going over everyone's heads. And I really want, when I explain things and to one person, I want to make sure not I don't leave too many people behind. So we're going to take a break and then I'm going to explain keywords so that then you can backtrack and understand what it is that I was doing right now with Michael. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's look at the time. I'm unclear. Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Here's my, I lost my chat. There it is. And right now it's 2:38. Somebody tell me what that means for time.
2:53.
Okay, thank you. I love it when you guys help me. So be back by 2:53. All right. See you guys in 15 minutes. Right, there's still another minute left, but I'm beginning to call you over in case you can hear me and start trundling back to the computer, making your way back. I have not had an entire 15-minute break in a while because usually I help people in between. So it felt really long this time. Remember now on Fridays, I'm teaching since 9 a.m. and then I only have 15 minutes break between classes and I actually help people. So I really only had 7 minutes break between the last class finishing and you guys starting. So this little break felt like an hour and a half long. When you compare, all right. All right, so now it is the 2:53. So everyone come on back. And remember that I've muted you during break. So if you need to talk to me, you are starting in a muted mode. Okay. So before I continue with keywords, which is the conversation that was brought up with Michael's question, and I had mentioned earlier today that I was going to bring up keywords today, so it's great timing. Is there any other question about people around the people thing, that it did or didn't work, things that are strange or aren't happening or are happening? Was everyone able to label the people they wanted to label, see how to add more people, say yes, confirm, continue adding? It's not perfect. Not every photo of it still amazes me that they can even understand when people are looking straight at the camera. But the fact that they can find people who are looking sideways and up and down, it's getting better and better. But not everyone. As you saw, there's a picture of my son with his back to the camera. And so if I look for photos of Santiago as people, that one won't show up. That doesn't mean there isn't that photo of him. It just won't show up searching through what the computer can find. It's up to me to either then label that one because otherwise it won't be labeled him, or plan B, I can search for things and label them myself, either with keywords, or I can search them myself and put them into albums. Okay, so now up until now, we've been using everything that the computer or Apple gives me as a resource. Searches and everything is completely left to the computer to find. So now we're going to start, well, what if I want to create things myself? What if I want to be able to say, well, this thing happened in spring, like Michael said, or this was so-and-so's wedding, which the computer would never know one wedding from another, or even a wedding itself from a birthday party, or from any photo, right? A gathering of people. So that's the kind of thing that then you need to start working with. So, and let me let Marsha in. Now I know that Zoom user is Marsha. So the first thing would be, let me, here we go. Come on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is create some keywords. Okay, so if we go ahead and go to the main photos word over there and all photos over here, we are in the place where every single photo that we own exists. So how do I work with these photos in a way that lets me search them? Let me move this over here. I'm going to give you some examples first of us keywording an individual photo. So go find, I'm going to find this photo here. And I'm going to say this was a graduation photo. Now, I could have added it to a description, which I
We
might.
don't see your screen.
Oh, so sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep.
I'm in chit-chatting, not sharing. Okay, there we go. So I found a photo and I have two choices here. three choices really. Well, I can add a title, which I find to be maybe, I don't know, less, I don't know. I never use the add a title. I could, why not add a title? But I don't use it much. I could add a description or I could add a keyword. If I have many photos of graduation, so this is something that I'm going to want to look up a lot, then keywords is a very appropriate thing to use. What you don't want is to be adding a keyword for every new thing you have in your photos album. So a keyword for something you did today, something you did yesterday, for something you did before yesterday. That's not a good way to do keywords. Keywords is for something that you'll maybe, you know, now, 2 years ago, 3 years from now, will want to be able to search. I mean, you can put in hundreds of keywords. Why not? You can put in hundreds of keywords as well, but I find that it's better to use descriptions where you can write a longer paragraph about something maybe that ends up having many words that are searchable, right? And to leave descriptions like keywords more singular items. Again, there's no hard and fast rule about this. This is just how I choose to do it. So I've got 2 kids. They've gone through, you know, kindergarten graduation, elementary school graduation, middle school graduation, high school graduation, at some point college graduation, who knows? There's many graduations in our life, right? So if I add a keyword here called graduation for this one, in the future, when I have other graduations or when I go back and put the same name keyword to other versions of graduations, hopefully when I click on the word graduation, all these graduations will pop up because they will all share the same keyword. Alrighty. I taught keywords in some other version of iLife, but I have not taught keywords in this iLife class yet. Mary Lee is mentioning that I already taught keywords, but I did not. I talked about descriptions earlier on at the very beginning. Mary Lee, I can't hear you at all, so I can just read your message, and I know you're moving your mouth. Yeah.
Descriptions, okay. I thought it was keywords.
So we've added descriptions. The first day we added some descriptions, remember? I don't remember right now what descriptions we added, but we added some descriptions to some pictures.
Okay, I thought it was keywords, sorry.
No. So description here might be the 4 of us at Santi's Santa Barbara High School graduation. Like that might be a description, okay? So, or maybe the Bailey Wasakio family, or, you know, something like that. This is a long paragraph. Ideally, maybe if I'm a little bit less wordy, because later if I look for the word for, this will come up. And does it make sense? I don't know. Like maybe Santu's Santa Barbara High School graduation is a good idea. So maybe I could say family, you know, family at Santu's Santa Barbara High School graduation. That might be better. So later when I type the word family, this one will pop up among others. So make sure you have words here that make sense to this photo and that won't get confusing, because again, later if I look for family and I don't have my family members here, like I have maybe 2 people, then maybe I should just put the names of the 2 people who are there. So anyway, graduate description is generic. In the future, if I look for this photo and I look for the word family, it's actually still working on indexing it. So it is having hard. I'll show you later. Wow. Hello. Here we go. In the future, after it said indexing, so it's the whole same thing. It's kind of has to index all the stuff that we're doing. Later, I'll be able to write SBHS for Santa Barbara High School. That'll work. I'll be able to write Santi and it'll find it. It'll be able to write graduation and I find it. But a keyword, on the other hand, is a singular event. So if I write graduation right now, let's do that. I'm going to write graduation. Now I'm going to hit return. You'll see that it's surrounded by this little blue kind of marker. I hit return, right, to finish it. So that is now a keyword. I'm going to show you, you can set keywords in different ways. You can set keyword like this. You can set keyword from a keyword manager. But first, we're going to set some keywords this way. Now, this is also his graduation, but I hadn't given it that keyword. If you look over here, this one says graduation. This does not say graduation. So everyone, did you all make one keyword? Make one keyword. Find a photo of yours and make one keyword. So do that first so that then you can keep seeing how this develops. Make one keyword. And if you want to just test it on any photo of a plant, go ahead and put the word graduation if you don't even know what to do. But if you have something in front of you that you think you can make a keyword for, go ahead and make a keyword. Later, you'll like clarify more what does or doesn't work really as a keyword, depending on your kind of photos that you take. But I would say big events like that, or vacation or holidays or Christmas holidays. Later, if you always do Christmas holidays and you always keyword them, then when you write the keyword Christmas holiday, you'll have all your Christmases from every year all pop up all together versus one Christmas holiday. So I wrote the word graduation here. Give me a second. I need to mute myself. Sorry, I had a question about something that's happening in here. I had to answer. All right. So now find another photo nearby probably that fits that keyword. And I'm going to watch what I'm going to do. That keyword got created. Okay. Now this photo here is also part of the graduation. So watch. I'm not going to make a new keyword. That graduation keyword has been made. So watch, I'm going to write G. And as soon as I write G, any keyword that already exists, which starts with G, pops up for me. This one was already made. So I happen to have another keyword called group shot, but that I could keep on writing the whole graduation, but I don't want to make a new one. All I want is to select the same one. So I'll select it and hit return. So that's the same keyword has been applied to both photos. Okay. It's not that I've made another keyword called graduation. The same one got applied to both photos. Now I'm going to go ahead and select more than one at the same time. So I have 4 bowls here that are part of my husband's pottery, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on one, and then I'm going to hold the shift key and click on this last one. And now it's 4 of them. So I'm going to give this a new keyword, but see how what happened here when I have one photo selected, I have location, I have all that kind of stuff. When I select 4 photos, and I'm doing that by holding shift from the click the first one, hold down the shift, click the last one. Now I've got all 4 selected. Now this has changed into like a small box because it has to have things that are same for all 4. And now you can't have time and stuff like that because this is not at the same time. It's not the same everything. And so it doesn't show me all the details that this one on its own did. This one showed me time, place, but all 4. And so now I'm going to add a keyword, and this keyword is going to go for all 4 of them. So now I'm going to go ahead and say JB pottery, just because that's the name of his pottery. So that's the keyword I'm adding. Once I hit the return, that's the keyword. Okay. Now I have other, I'll explain a little bit more, but I have other things that are part of JB pottery that aren't actually photos of pottery itself, right? So I have other photos of stuff that have to do with marketing or him selling or other stuff. So although this is part of JB Pottery, these 4 photos actually need another keyword. Watch, I'm going to select the same 4 photos. So if you maybe chose a wedding, maybe now you can sub-select and say maybe Mary's wedding, or if it's a birthday party and you just wrote party, now you can write the word birthday. And then later when you look for party, there's all kind of parties, but when you look for birthday parties, then there's only birthday parties. Does that make sense? It's kind of like sub-selecting a little bit. Is that pretty clear? So if you first went wide, now maybe go a little bit smaller. So go and do another word that could be. So in my case, I'm actually gonna put pots, or maybe just pottery photos. I'm gonna say pottery photos. It's one keyword, but it's pottery photos because, and if there's a typo there, correct it before you say return. And then I'm gonna hit return. So the entire keyword is pottery photos. Okay. Now, if I click away, these share 2 keywords. And one more thing that these whole photos share now is this little tag there. That is a keyword. That is a keyword. If I click on that one, that's a keyword. If I click on this one, it's pottery photos and JB Pottery. So I'm clicking on these little tags and it's telling me what the keyword is. Okay. Have you guys, can you see that? Now, this photo also has family photos. This one too. Let's move on to another example. These photos, all right? I'm trying to find another thing that might apply. Okay, so for now, that's, let me just leave that example. I'm trying to find if I have some other things here that might fit that example. No. Okay, so for now, that's, here I have another graduation. So I'm looking for something else that might work. So I'm going to click on here and add and there it is, graduation again. And now I just select it and hit return. So that's the same one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I have some more pottery here. So I'm going to click on the first one. And I'm going to go all the way to the last one, holding the shift key down. Then now I have more. These I'm going to call just pottery photos. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to write PO. And as you can see, I already had other keywords. So when I write PO, that lets me put in the pottery photos. So now they're all tagged at the same time. So you can tag them one at a time, or you can tag 100 at a time, right? So when I go to vacation, maybe I took 300 photos of that camping trip, and they're all called camping or vacation. And then some of them will be from when I was at June Lake. Another will be from when I was at, St. George Lake. Another one when I was, but they're all camping, or they're all my vacation. But this one is this lake, that one is that lake, that one is this lake. Does that make sense? So 100 of them are vacation, 50 of them are one lake, 50 are another lake, 50 are another lake. So if I write Lake George, only 50 pop up. If I write lake, 150 pop up. If I write vacation, 150 pop up, but maybe I have other things labeled vacation, like when I was in the campground, not at the lake, or when I was on the road in the road trip. So it subselects different sets of photos. Does that make sense? But only if I then label them. Like if I don't label them and it's a pot sitting there and it hasn't been labeled pottery, the keyword won't find them. So this is truly up to you to do the labeling. Now, if you need to go back and label things from years ago, it could take quite a while. Ideally, what you should do is begin labeling from now forwards, and then slowly start a month back, 2 months back, when you have some time on your hands, and or go to special events that really are important to you, like someone's wedding, someone's vacation, Thanksgiving, and start labeling them in chunks. because then you can begin to catch up. But it's really hard to go back to 3,000 photos and label everything, right? So you do your best on the photos that really matter. Okay, so now these we have labeled with things that were new and with things that were old. We created the graduation, we created the pottery, you created whatever you created, and then we've created them kind of on the run, so to say, right here, because we need them. So all these photos here belong to last year's Imaginary. My son always does paintings for Imaginary, and I have photos of him doing Imaginary since he was in kindergarten. So I have a label called Imaginary, and then I have, you know, Imaginary first grade, second grade, whatever it is. I don't actually have them in this album. But. So these would be the Imaginary of last year, I guess, when he was in 12th grade, right? So that means that I would already have this label in existence and all these labels in existence. So let me go show you now the opposite side of where you create these labels. Let's go to the label keyword manager. Let's head up to up at the very top, and I'm gonna share my entire screen now for you guys to see what I'm talking about, because whenever I say at the top, people don't see it until I share my entire screen. Later, I'll go back. But up, when you have this floating over here, when I say you have to go up to the top, it's way up there. Some of you guys have this window way over here, because on this side you're doing Zoom. You still need to go all the way up here next to the apple for the labels that I need you to work on, right? And if you go over here to window, you see the keyword manager. Okay. So make sure that this says photos though, because if perchance I click somewhere on the background, this says finder, then under window, I'm not going to find keyword manager. I need to have photos clicked on. Then next to the apple, I'll see the word photos. Then if I go to window, I'll see the keyword manager. If you use the keyword manager at all, a lot, then Command K would give you the keyword manager. I'm going to turn on the keyword manager. And this is that keyword manager. Now I'm going to bring this back so it's all a little bit easier to see, and I'm going to share. Let me share again just the. Oh, but if I do this, you probably don't see. Do you see my keyword manager anymore, or is it not being shared?
It's there.
It's there. Okay. I just didn't know how much it in. The pop-ups sometimes share and sometimes don't. These are pop-up windows, and so I need to know. Okay. So here's my keyword manager. You might have nothing here, or you might have a lot. Now, every time I teach this class, I add new keywords. So I keep having I have a lot of keywords here, but I keep adding different photos. And so I keep having new ones to add. I just put in all of these last photos that I'm working on right now weren't in there last time I used this. So I didn't have pottery. I didn't have graduation. But if I look in here, none of these keywords actually say Imaginary, for example. So this is existing keywords, all right? So if I click here on JB Pottery or on shots or on any of this stuff, nothing, nothing is happening. They're grayed out. If I want to work with these and say, oh, some of these I don't need or some of these I do need, I need to go to edit keywords, okay? I'm going to move this up a little bit and I'm going to click edit keywords. And suddenly all the keywords that I've ever made exist. And you might have nothing other than the one or two that you just made, or you might have made keywords before. I don't know. Some of you might have 200 keywords. Well, maybe that's one too many. Some of you might have one or two keywords. So I'm going to go to the ones that I already made. So today I made, here we go. I made pottery photos. I made JB pottery I had made over there. And then I made graduation. Those are the three that I just made, right? So those are the ones that you saw me made. Now, what if I decided, you know what? I think I don't need JB pottery because whenever I find photos of pots, it'll always be pottery. That's not true. I actually do need it in the other thing. I have it. But in this case, in this set here, I don't really need JB Pottery. Pottery is good enough, right? So I can rename it or I can get rid of it. But be careful. If I just get rid of it, look what's going to happen. If I remove it, are you sure you want to remove the selected keyword? Because 4 photos will have their keywords removed. So be careful when you create labels or keywords that you've already applied. The computer is, if you delete it, it will just delete it. So if you had marked something wedding and then you get rid of the keyword wedding, all those photos will lose their keywords. It's not that the photos won't be gone, but they'll lose their keywords. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you don't want to necessarily do that. But in this case, I could also rename it, right? So instead of, and then it won't lose it. But so instead of JB Pottery, what if now I tried to write just pottery? Well, remember that I already had a pottery, but I put pottery photos. So if I call this one just pottery and this one pottery photos, now they will be redundant. I'm going to go ahead and say okay, so that you'll see that. I'm going to say pottery photos. And now I have both pottery and pottery photos. And that can get really confusing because which one was supposed to be pottery and which was supposed to be pottery photos. So be careful. Don't write 2 that are redundant and then you don't know whether to use one or to use the other. When you're first creating it, it's okay to get these kind of things, but then search them and go, well, later I'm going to have trouble because some will be named pottery, some will be named pottery photos. And then when you delete one of these, because there are too many, you're going to lose all the labeling you did. So when you first create them like now, this is a good time to say, well, you know what? I really only need pottery. I don't need pottery photos. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this one actually pottery. So I'm going to take the photos away. And now I'm trying to rename them the same thing. So when I say okay, it'll go, ooh, it's already being used. You can't name 2 things the same thing. So now I'm going to say okay, and now I'm kind of stuck because I have 2 things with the same name. Okay. So basically everything that I had labeled pottery photos, I'm going to have to basically lose, right? And so it's good to lose it now and not to lose it later. So now I'm going to select and delete it and get rid of it. Now I've lost it. I've lost the pottery photos. So if I go back to my photos, all these that had been labeled pottery are missing their keyword. So be careful. Don't just delete keywords if you really have been using them for a while. Try to clarify them now and pick up anything that is going to be deleted. So say you're going to delete one, select them, relabel them the new label, and then get rid of them. So let me show you what I mean. Let me go over here and relabel all this pottery here. I'm going to select all this stuff and I'm going to create, the pottery photos again, right? So I labeled them pottery photos again. Good. So now they're labeled pottery photos. And then when I go over here, I'm back to having pottery and pottery photos. If I want to get rid of one of these 2, so say you guys do have 2 overlapping ones, right? I'm kind of going into the problems first because keywords are really powerful, but you could end up having a ton of stuff that's wrong, like Photoshop class, Photoshop professor, right? There's like too many, or Santiago and Santiago Bailey Musacchio. So you need to clean these up or later it won't be helpful. It'll be like looking into a file and having 10 things labeled taxes and you go, which ones are the right ones? Do I toss 2? No, you got to join all the taxes and put them under one thing labeled taxes, right? You don't want to get rid of any of them. So what I need to do is if my choice is to keep only pottery, then I need to search for all my pottery photos keywords, relabel them pottery, and then get rid of this keyword. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of that. Now I've got all my labels. I'm going to go click up here in the search and I'm going to write pottery, and it's coming up with either pottery or pottery photos. My pottery photos, which are 10 of them, and then my pottery, which are whatever, the other amount. So I want to choose only my pottery photos, these. I'll select them all again. Okay. And I'm going to add the correct tag for them, which is just pottery. Okay. Now they're labeled two things. Now they're labeled both pottery and pottery photos. So now when I go get rid of pottery photos, they'll still be labeled pottery. Does that make sense? I know that I've been kind of going around and around, but it's just because I see with people who start using pottery, they end up having 2 or 3 or 4 of the same thing. So before you delete them and leave them unlabeled, which is how I showed you, these photos just kind of fell out because I deleted their keyword, relabel them the one that you want to keep. Now, if I go to my keyword manager, I can get rid of pottery photos happily, right? I'll get rid of it. It's okay. 10 photos will be removed. I'll say okay. And that's fine because now these only have one label, but I didn't lose them. They're all now pottery. So if I now go and look for just pottery, I'll find that I have all my, well, it's still indexing because I just made that change. So that's still available, but I'll find all my photos under pottery. Okay. Anyway, so that's the thing about keywords. Now, when you're managing them, you can also create them. So say, I know that I want to label my imaginary photos. Say that you decide, okay, actually, I had never labeled my imaginary photos. They were just there in all my years. And the other day, someone asked me for photos of Santi's imaginary photos of last year, of all his years of chalk paintings. And so I was like, oh, how do I find that? How do you find all the chalk paintings? If you go in here into the search and you find chalk painting, well, I guess I've already labeled them somehow. I must have. Oh, I have 2 images have the name of the file, chalk paintings. So it came up with that image, but that's not his painting. Like, how would I, find them? So what I had to do is go to every year, June. I searched June when the Imaginary happens. It's usually around solstice, June, mid-June. I had to go in June, search everything that June. So it wasn't that hard. I had to go back 10 years. And every June, I scrolled through the June photos and there they were. These are the Imaginary photos. So I selected them and labeled them Imaginary, right? So I did that to every June. And now this is in my real thing. And then I now click Imaginary and all my Imaginaries appear at the same time. Does that make sense? So I don't have to go into search, but that was easy because I know that Imaginary always happens in June. But so I was able to kind of go backwards. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create labels from this area that I know I'm going to want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and instead of in the moment, like I showed you before, I'm going to ahead of time create like a structure. So I'm going to add with a plus sign there. I'm going to write Imaginary. Okay. I'm going to say, okay. So now it's already created, but there's no photos labeled that yet, but I've created the tag. So go in and create tags that you know you're going to want. Like maybe you know that you're going to want to create a label for Thanksgiving photos or for someone's wedding or for someone's birthday, right? So I'm going to go ahead and write Christmas, because I noticed that some of those photos that I was finding from Heather and Dustin, those are Christmas. So I know I have some Christmas photos in here. So I'm going to write Christmas. I'm also going to go ahead and edit and I'm going to write, I don't know what other photos I have here. I have Santi's film sets. So I'm going to write the word film because I know it's about Santi's films. So I'm going to say, okay. So anyway, so I wrote a couple of keywords that haven't been assigned yet, right? So I put them in there. I'm going to close this keyword manager. I don't need it anymore. Now I'm going to go and here we go. These are photos of a film set. I'm going to click from here to here. And I'm going to add a keyword. And when I write F, all my F options appear and one of them is film. It already exists. Cool. Hit return. Now I've labeled film. Okay. Now I'm going to go and find Imaginary photos. So this is, oh, these are the, so there you go. It's an example. These are Imaginary photos from 2 years ago when he was a junior and we had a senior living with us and he did a portrait of her. These are the 2 years where Imaginary was at home. And so it was in our driveway. Before that, it's always over at the mission. But this year and the other year that I'm showing you are Imaginary at my home. So now I'm going to write Ima, and there it is. Imaginary is appearing. I hit return. So this is from when he was a junior. Then I go over here and I label this through this. I go back to Imaginary and I label it Imaginary. So now I've labeled Imaginary photos from 2 different years. So I go to the search and I write Imaginary. Oh, it's not, yeah. The problem is that it's still indexing. I'm making these keywords right now and it still needs to go in and index. And so in fact, it has found, I guess I did put in photos of other Imaginary years here. But the file names were Imaginary. So these are his Imaginaries from some other time. So I'm going to, I guess once I wrote it with 2 Ds and one with 1 D. So be careful of that. Imaginary. So see, bad spellings are a mess. So yeah. Oh, so look at how little he was here. Okay, so they're not all those keywords that I just created and labeled are still not in. It says indexing, which is that same thing of needing to go into the background and search. Let me see, who was the dog was, I believe, Win. Where's Win? Let me mute you, Win. There we go. So we stop hearing your dog. Cute as it might be, it's hard to speak over it. So I actually believe I don't know which one's more correct, 1D or 2 Ds or 1D, but I'm going to go back to the keyboard manager and I'm going to rename because I think that it's with 1. Madonna, I don't remember. I don't know which one's correct. I know it's a double something, so maybe it's 1 D and 2 N's or something. I don't know. Okay. So in the future, when it's done indexing and it recognizes as all my new labels in the future, if I go back to all those other Imaginary photos, which it seems to be finding, and it's possible that I have an album here of Imaginary photos. No, I have to go back to every year's June to find them. Then I should be able to find all the Imaginaries at the same time. Let me see if by now it's indexed. No, it's still not. Yeah, here they are. These are all the Imaginaries that I just labeled. These are the 4 from 2020. And these are the 4 from 2020. These 2 plus these 2 are the ones from 2021. So if I go backwards and label all the other Imaginaries, then when I do a search for Imaginary, I will see all the years of Imaginary photos in here. Okay. As much as if you label everything Christmas and you go backwards and you search for Christmas, then you will have all your Christmases from as many years as you've labeled backwards all together. Does that make sense, you guys? See how this is one chalk painting, this is another. So clear it's 2 different years. I need to go back and find the rest of them and keep labeling them Imaginary. By the time I'm done, when I click the search, I will have found them all. So it makes it easy to search. Now, if there's things that you're never going to search for again, don't bother making, for last weekend's brunch or something, But if it's something that in the past, you're going to want to go back and see, oh, the photos of this moment or of that. So that's why I mean by keywords, you would keyword things that are kind of big or important or things that you're going to want to search for. And then without having to have special albums made for them amongst of all the photos that you have. So here's another one that's from Imaginary that's loose because it's from a different day where I put together one. And then I'm just going to add the Imaginary and there we go. I labeled it. So that's the whole painting from the top, but it was from a different day because I straightened it in Photoshop, right? I took this photo and I did a little Photoshop straightening. So they're not the same day, but if I look for them up here, then it will appear next to the rest. Okay, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm able to select a few photos and together and get the category, get the
Mhm.
put a
Keyword.
label on it, and
Yeah.
but it doesn't show, the upper right corner does not show that symbol that you have on your photos that you've put in the.
All right, do you have under view, did you turn on view metadata and do you have all these check marks turned on?
Maybe I didn't. Let
You
me
need
see.
to have a check mark next to the word keywords. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyone
Oh,
else
right.
who's having
You're
that
right,
issue?
I did
Yeah,
not have a
so
check mark there.
this was, I think, the first or second day or one of these days, I told you guys to go up to view metadata and turn
Okay.
all these on. So this
Okay,
is the one that shows you the keywords. So if you
Thank you.
don't
I
have,
missed- I missed that
yeah.
instruction.
So if this is turned off, right, then I don't see any
Right.
little tag right here. Let me
But I
go
turned it
here,
on and now I get the
metadata keywords, then I see those little tags. And this one is labeled Imaranari, and this one is labeled pottery. And this one is labeled graduation. Okay,
Fine.
how's it going, you guys? Any questions? Oh, and let me show you what Michael's issue was. Michael was searching for two keywords at the same time. So now that you know keywords, he was doing an example. He was doing graduation, right? This is just an example. He was clicking on graduation here, and then he was adding spring. So here I'm going to put graduation and I'm going to put pottery. Whoa. This happens every time I get my life quit, my photos quit again. Every single time I've been teaching, at some point it quit, didn't it? Okay, let me open it again. It's not liking me doing all this work to it while I'm sharing. Okay, now let me share my screen again. Okay, so what I was showing you is that the example was that I'm going to write graduation. So I'm picking up anything that's graduation photos, and now I'm going to add the word pottery. Wow. It quit again. It does not want to. Okay. My iPhone, my photos is quitting every time I add a second word into the keyword, which. All right. I don't know why I can't do that example, but he was doing it. Maybe you guys can. He was putting two keywords in there in a row. And so it was showing him pictures of Ricardo, and it was showing him pictures of something he had labeled spring that didn't have photos of Ricardo, but he was seeing photos of those and going, how come this is here if I'm looking for Ricardo? So he thought it would be like exclusive, like Apple would grab photos of Ricardo and spring and then show him only the ones, you know, but it doesn't. It just shows you anything labeled Ricardo and anything labeled spring. So he was seeing the aggregate of both. Okay. Does that make sense to you now, Michael? And to anyone else, at least in the explanation, because I can't seem to show it. Does that make sense, you guys?
Mhm. Yes, it was showing or instead of and.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
Ricardo and spring, it was showing Ricardo or spring.
Or you're right. You would and or yeah, and would be where they're both together, or is when it shows like any, like all of them. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just search terms that this doesn't go by search terms. It just you put a keyword. But those of you who know about search terms, which Leslie seems to be clear about, that's what
No.
it's doing. Oh no, is it? Okay, well, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's what it's all about. You guys, I noticed that it's 3:36 and I've been rambling, and this class is supposed to finish at 3:25. So somehow my alarm didn't ring, or I snoozed it without paying attention. So I want you guys to do some homework. I want you guys to keyword some important sets, okay, of photos. So I want you guys to go into your photos and to add keywords to things that matter, okay? So I won't be keywording this photo of the time lapse. Why? Well, it wasn't an important time lapse. It was a sample. And yet, if I want to find it, I can go to time lapses and there they are, right? Or this one was slow-mo, okay? So things that the computer won't find otherwise, okay? Now, by date, if I go search for things that were shot in June, right, of whatever, then under June, I should be able to find photos if I really start searching in here, because all of the keywords are from June, but it would take, many, many Junes to find. Oh, look. Ha. I wrote June and now it is searching for June and Santiago. I guess it kept the request I was looking for. And so it's giving me June and Santiago, which before when I was trying to do it, it was canceling. So how funny.
We're not seeing this.
Oh, I'm not sharing again because I had
That's probably why it did it.
Did it because I wasn't sharing. No, I mean it probably did it because I wasn't sharing. I was doing a double search, but I'm not going to try double search anymore because it's canceled me each time. But when I wasn't sharing, it did the double search. So anyway, yeah, so go ahead and create at least 5 important keywords. I would recommend going back to maybe the last, if you take many pictures month, if you don't take many pictures, maybe 3 months, and go and attempt to keyword stuff. If nothing really important happened in the last 3 months, then maybe go backwards and find something important. Because again, you're not going to keyword every event. It's just for big, important things that you later want, especially if you can have them be repetitive. You don't want to make an album for every Thanksgiving. You just want to be able to type Thanksgiving and have all the Thanksgiving photos pop up. But if there was one that was particularly, so here's the goal. What we're going to do next week. Say that we label every Thanksgiving or every Christmas or every vacation you take or every travel that you do, label them travel, travel, travel. Then maybe you can label Egypt and travel and Washington and travel and, Mammoth and travel. Then you can keyword, you get all 300 photos of Mammoth and you keyword them Mammoth. All 300 photos of Egypt and you label them Egypt. So that's a keyword. Till next week, you make an album called Egypt and you only put the best photos. So maybe you choose 35 photos of Egypt. Then you can keyword Egypt to find your 300 photos. But then in your album, it's your choice of those 300 photos, which are the 35 best photos. And I'm just saying numbers, right? Instead of having to make an album with 300 photos, and then where was the good ones? Well, your album called Egypt has the 35 best ones, and your keyword shows you every single photo you took in Egypt. Does that make sense? It's kind of like you just label keywords more plentifully. And then you make albums of things that really matter. And that helps you find only the good ones. I used to have albums of all my vacations, but I take a lot of photos. Who's going to search through 1,500 pictures to see, remember the one where he was diving into the water? So now I do more keywording, and then the albums are the ones that I really want to highlight from my thousands of photos, the really good ones. That's just my theory, but you guys can learn how to do them and choose your own way, right? But that's kind of how I do it. Otherwise, you get to the point where you have way too many albums also. And instead of having so many albums, it's better to have a lot of keywords. And albums, you can have 20 or 50, but have them be something more that you've been able to sub-select, like the best ones, right? All right. So sorry for keeping you longer. I'm sure you guys don't matter if you've nowhere to be, but I just got to keep talking. So homework, add more keywords so that we can work with those keyworded selections to make sub-selections and albums next Friday. Okay.
Thank you, Dion.
All right.
Bye.
I'm going to stop my share, and unless anyone
Thank
has
you,
any specific question.
Deanna's the best.
Now, I still don't know why you and Yolanda couldn't see the photos. That one worries me. Alan couldn't see the photos.
I've got one like your thing that you just had. Whenever I edit my contacts, I put one word in, and then when I start typing the second word, it leaves and it goes to me or some other contact, and it does it every time. So you've got some variation on that.
Yeah, it's Crazy. So I don't
Crazy.
know, Alan, if you have a chance to talk with Apple and ask them what's up, or why would all those, could it be that it's all these imports? Because Yolanda, who showed the same screen, she's had her iPhotos library for years and years, and she's having the same problem. So I'm thinking there might be something there about that. And I
didn't
can't,
do it. Not yet. I have not yet done anything about it.
well, no, I mean, you just showed it to me, but
That's the
if either you or Yolanda can maybe ask the call Apple, tech support or something like that, and see if they have any answer for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Elaine, I have a question.
Yes.
Deanna, when I merged a couple, the same person into one, I've got a lot of duplicates out of it. How do I deal with that?
The duplicates were already there. By the way, this people thing doesn't create new images. No one worry. These things don't create new images, but it's possible that you had them labeled in different sets with different people. And now when you finally find only Andy instead of Andy and Andrew, you discover that it's there. But those duplicates were there in your photos. You just had them labeled some Andy, some Andrew.
Yeah.
So it's good because now that means that you can look at them and decide which ones are no good. Remember, we had worked with your photos in your info. When you have duplicates, pull up the info window and look at the file size. And I believe you had some that were JPEG, some that were TIFF, some it's a big file, some it's a small file. You might want to delete the small file and keep the big one, right?
Okay.
Just look
Yeah.
at the file size to not have the duplicate, but to know to delete it from the right, don't just willy-nilly delete each one because you might be deleting this big one and keeping the small one. So go ahead and do it the other way around.
Okay,
Know what I
good.
mean?
Thank you. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Quick
Yes,
question.
yes, Carol.
Yeah, and this goes back a couple of classes, which is, so I was going through a lot of my texts and, I have photos family and friends send that are the HEIC, whatever, I know that they're condensed and
Hey,
small.
I don't know how they pronounce it. I guess we just say HEIC.
HEIC.
I think they should be a quick way to say it. Hake or something. I don't know.
It's a hate.
It's a hake. Yeah.
But I would like them because they go all the way back to like our kids' childhoods, and they're the only source that I have them. And some of the things, the people are dead. I mean, this is like, I can't get these any other way. So my question for you is there a way to kind of to reverse, to bring them into my photo library in such a way that they're, or I'm stuck with that version and that's just the end of it.
I'm just lost a little bit. You have hakes outside of your photo library. Is that what you're
Correct. They're in my texts, and there are things that got sent to me.
Okay.
I can't.
Yeah. So let me just share my screen for a second. When
I'm saying if I want to import them into my photo library.
Yeah, so let me show you, my messages here is not enabled because in this class, I don't have my messages set up, but I do have, I think my mail is set up. Let me see if I have my mail set up. Yeah. So say that you find a place that has a photo. So here I have, what's that?
They're in my texts, my messages.
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
Okay.
I don't have my, or maybe why don't you share your screen? Because I don't have my photos enabled here
It
to
would
show
be my
you that.
phone. It would be my phone, not my screen, because they're on
Well,
my.
then.
Oh, I guess I could go into texts.
No, that's okay. I can
Let's
share my
do yours,
photo. If it's in your photo, I can do it in my photos. I do have my photos enabled in the. I do have my photos enabled in my Okay, I do have my messages enabled in my phone. So here's my message. I'm looking for it. Okay, so my sister-in-law just sent this yesterday, where she showed me a photo of her foot that she had surgery, right?
Oh.
So I can click with my finger, hold tight on this photo, and then down here it says save. If I do that and I save it, that got saved into my photo library.
So basically you looked at, like you had your messages on your dock or on your.
No, this is my phone. You said you wanted it on your phone.
Right, okay, so got it.
So I'll click on, this is a photo I sent
them. Where
them.
you were. I got it.
I click on my phone, because you said it's on my phone. When you click and hold a photo in your texts, here it says save. You have to click and press it for a little bit, like a second. And then this pops up and you save. That save, watch, if I go now to my Photos app. So let me share my Photos app. So if I go in here now into my Photos app at the very bottom of my Photos app, oh, okay. This is not my real photos. Okay. This is my teaching photos. My messages goes into my real photos, but
I'll
do that.
take your word for it, but now is it important?
Please do that in your phone and then go to your photos and scroll down to the newest photo and you'll see right here that the photo that you had in your text will appear right here. Okay. It's just that I have this photos library that I'd share with you guys is not my real photos library. It's curated, so to say. I've got some things in here and then I have a lot of stuff that my son put in here at one point. So it's not connected to my phone right now, is all I'm saying. So it gets a little bit creepy to share everything.
I mean, I'm just looking on my phone. I'm not looking on my photos on my computer because I closed them.
And it worked, yeah. Oh, there you go. I can show you in my phone. Good point. I can't show you in my computer right now because this is not the same one,
I mean,
but yeah.
I assume if it's in my photos in my phone, it's on my phone.
Yeah, so I saved this one. I saved these two. Now I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna show you my photos in my phone. I know, because I don't update this one. And there it is. If I look at my library photos, the last two photos that I created at the very bottom. Let me scroll all the way to the bottom. This is by date, right? So I'm going to the very last, and there they are. See, this is the photo that I just showed you.
And is it full? Is it full?
And this is this one that I just showed you.
So is it been condensed? Is it
it's as big as what they sent you because you only have the file they sent you. So if they sent you the full file, fine. If they, it's whatever they sent you.
Okay, same thing true of videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's whatever they sent you. So if they sent you a big one or a small one.
Like I have my mother-in-law who died last year playing the ukulele on a video, and it was sent by her nurse.
Oh, how nice.
It was sent by the person who, it was just a thing of the moment.
Yeah.
And so I can't replace it. So it's better to have a small video than nothing at all.
Yeah. So what you have, if the nurse took that picture and sent it, you probably have no contact with that nurse anymore. She might still have it on her phone and she doesn't know how to delete it, or she might have already deleted it. But what you have is what she sent you, and that is yours, and you can download it that way. Go to your text, go find it, and then find it and hold it, and what you got is what you have.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great weekend, I guess. So it's rolling on
I guess it is Friday.
I know. Wow.
All right. Is there any other burning question, or is it time to go? Yes, Tracy. Oh, was that a goodbye or a question?
Sorry. Actually, this is just very quick.
Yeah.
I noticed that when I go in to manage those keywords, there's some that I didn't create. So I think that those are photos people sent me and they had already created those. And it comes with the photo.
It's possible that you have things that are created. I do know, I believe that there's some, I'm not sure about this. You guys who did anyone have no keywords in theirs? Because there's the possibility that no keywords are that the phone comes with some preset keywords, but I don't know if that's true. Is that so or not? No.
I had a bunch of keywords in there, but they weren't all ones I created.
Let me, because I mine is already made, so I don't know if anyone went to the keyword manager. Did you find no keywords? They were all empty except for the ones you created. Did anyone find that? If you've never used keywords, Leslie, yours had no keywords other than yours?
Only the ones I had put in.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe the Mac came with some basic set of keywords or something. No. Okay. So then, yeah, those are probably keywords that someone sent you photos that already had keywords that they had replaced. And you can get rid of them if they don't match, if they don't work for you, right? And then reset keywords that work for you.
Well, it's also a heads up for me that if I send somebody some that I've put keywords on, they're gonna see those
Yeah,
keywords.
but here's the only thing though. It needs to be a photo that was sent.
Yeah.
From a Mac to a Mac that has been labeled and keyworded, and probably it's been sent through email so that it's not reduced. But you know what? Even if it's reduced, maybe it keeps the keyword. I don't know. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna test by sending, say, my husband a photo and see if I open it in his, if it has a keyword, because I don't know how much of the keywording stays or not. So good point.
Yeah,
Good question.
Just an interest point, but that's
Yeah.
it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Ta-da, ta-da. See you in a week, unless you're in any other of my classes. All right. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.